Welcome to your briefing. My name is Scott Rowe, and the reason you're here is because you're one of two people. You either found your way to this webinar because you're interested in doing real estate, whether it be wholesaling, fix and flip, buy and hold, money lending, or you found this webinar because you're interested in making cash flow, earning money on a weekly basis or bi-weekly basis from home, inside a business. So welcome. You just began a three-part process. This is how you are qualifying us and we're qualifying you to figure out if we're going to be working together. This 10-minute briefing, inside of 10 minutes that you're spending with me, then to an hour and 15-minute webinar that will detail everything. You definitely need that. That webinar will create questions that we're going to answer in the third step, whether it be recorded live or personally on the phone with you. We are here to make sure that you get all your questions answered. We don't want to lose talent, we want to gain it. So my name is Scott Rowe. We're working, I'm in my office here today. You see all the boards behind me. You see the PowerPoint. That's a picture of this room full of folks on a Thursday night. We've run this building since August of 2007, and we have helped folks do real estate and earn money while they're doing real estate, okay? I got down to this situation, my wife and I, we were broke and unemployed. We had our resumes on the internet. We could not find a job. So we answered an ad that got us into this group. And then when we got into the group, we started doing real estate. We thought, how can we assist people, not just in the Chicagoland area, but all over the country? And that is why you're on the webinar right now. So this situation right here in Chicago, we started broadcasting our meetings and our workshops. And today we've got 28 buildings all over the country that work with us just like this building. But the formula has been exactly the same. When I came down here, this group gave me a shot to earn money, which I wasn't doing without a job. They gave me a shot to earn money while I learned real estate investing. I came in looking to do real estate investing. These guys kept me from needing a job by paying me while I was doing it, right? So that's the message I have here. Whether you want to earn money or do real estate or do both, we've got solutions. The weekly schedule that we kept had people interacting with each other, progressing through real estate, but it doesn't matter if you're coming in understanding real estate. We can help you take your game to the next level. If you've never done real estate, we can help you start that career and then progress to a point where the group is actually assisting your real estate in a leverage capacity. The schedule you see on the screen right there is the consistent schedule that we've run since 2007 out of this building. My goal is to convey to you that you won't be working. It's not something you're just going to visit here and then maybe be successful. We are going to be working together on a weekly basis in live interaction to make sure that you get your questions answered, even create partnerships to the point where you can actually do what you need to do. When I say partnerships, you're going to be leveraging talent and knowledge from other folks to get what you need to get done, whether it be cash flow or real estate. Why did it work? Let me tell you how it worked for me. I was not making money when I got down to this situation. We needed cash flow. So we started making $1,000 to $10,000 while we were learning real estate investing, okay? That was the easy part. The cash flow, they said, hey, do this, this, and this, you'll start making money. We started making money. The tough part was something that we'd never done, which was real estate. The nice thing about this group and this program is it was very comprehensive. We lost a job, so it was a stressful time in our lives. These guys, we didn't know anything about real estate or how to make a career out of it. So from not understanding anything to the point where we actually could lend money, we'd learned everything that we needed to know to handle 4 levels of real estate investing. We have created a program out of this building on the internet, something you'll interact with, whether it's a building close to you or with us live here, that will progress you through 4 levels of real estate investing. Freshman to senior level real estate investing. You're going to want to come back to that hour-long session so that I can detail how exactly you can start earning money starting next week, okay? To finish this little briefing up, I want to introduce you to an individual that took advantage of this. And I believe that pictures are worth 1,000 words. This is a screenshot of my Facebook page with a student of ours. His name was Dan. Dan sat in this room in an intro meeting, which is the next step you should take. In an intro meeting for an hour and a half, he heard about how this building could help him, and he started taking advantage of it. Right away, he started making money, just like I talked about, because he was a college student. He didn't have a job, so he needed to pay for some stuff, and he came in on a weekly basis and progressed through study groups that we actually facilitate, that you could participate in, just like him, to the point where that Facebook post has him in front of 24 units that he just closed at that title company. Now you're going to notice a gentleman in blue on the top picture and a gentleman in red sitting next to him in the title company. If you're a professional, you've been in real estate a long time, we could definitely use your help. That gentleman has been in real estate for 30 years, loved what we were doing after the intro meeting, says, I want to participate. For the last 5 years, he has helped his business by helping other people get into real estate investing. And essentially, he's creating his clients using the systems that we have created. If you're a real estate professional or been doing real estate for a very long time, let us show you how this can help your business go exponential. Okay, not just get into real estate investing, but take your current real estate investing and grow that through our group. The real training in our hour-long intro meeting you're going to go through next will be on the screen right here. So there are low financial efficiency people, and they remain low financial efficiency people if they don't get the right knowledge, the right relationships, use their time as wise as they could. What we really like to do is see as many people go from that low financial efficiency to the high financial efficiency. We will describe that in detail. We're going to show you exactly why most people are in debt and how we get them out of that in 5 to 7 years. Why they're paying taxes and how they could actually pay way less taxes based on the current laws that exist that they're not being taught how to use. Showing you exactly how the expenditures you have, I'm spending money on liabilities. How do I turn cell phones, cars, kids, my own personal house I live in? How do I turn it from a liability that costs me money into an asset that makes me money? That's the intro meeting as well. And finally, that new and controlled income. Usually we're used to getting a check and our purpose becomes the check at the end of the week, and then at the end of the year we get a little bit of a raise. What we're suggesting is if you take us up on this intro, you will learn how to create a measurable new income, and then because of that measurement, make it exponential by leveraging the tools, the relationships, and the time that you'll have working with this group. Okay, so this is I love this training. I can't tell you how many compliments I get from people who have seen it in their first night, and it drives them crazy because, you know, unfortunately, we've got some forces out there in the universe that want to keep us down. This group, we want to help you actually get on that top side. All right, welcome to part 2 of your experience with us to see if your time is going to be best spent with us for your future. So my name is Scott again. You remember that from the first video. Let's talk about your introduction. So officially, this is the introduction to our group. The office I'm sitting in right now is our office in Chicago here. What you see in your screen is actually a picture of what we do every Thursday night. It's this room. And what we're offering you a chance to do is participate in what we're doing here if you can't. Okay, so this is what it looks like on a Thursday night. That's only half of the building. We've got 3 other training rooms in this building. We've got 11 executive offices in this building. Our real intention with reaching out and sending ads all over the country and contacting individuals that might be interested in working with us is to open up locations like this in every city around the country so locals can do real estate together. And we've been doing this now, for about 6 years online. We have opened up 28 buildings all over the country. I've been traveling for the last 2 years, 2 and 3 times a week to run these meetings live in places like DC and Philadelphia and LA and Seattle and Phoenix and pretty soon Texas. So we've done a lot of good by modeling this building, putting the feelers out there in the world, having people watch webinars like this, and then finding talent in cities that we're not in, who've watched it just like you're watching it now, so maybe you're the next talent. So creating that, or finding that talent, or having that talent find us, and then cultivating that to the point where we have real estate investing communities popping up just like this all over the country. That's why we're doing what we're doing online. Okay, so let's talk about that. Now that we've got our intention with, expansion, let's talk about how that's going to help you, right? Because we're already doing great. This meeting here, this introduction is now for you. Okay. The way that we have actually helped individuals, and keep in mind, everything that I talk about right here online here will be happening live for you when you say, you know what, I'm in, I want to be a student, let's get going. You will plug and play into our group. If there is a building close to you, we will let you know. If there's a situation close to you that you should be working with locals from our group, you're gonna communicate with us live and through conference calls. We're gonna be your mentor, so we'll let you know. However, you don't need to. If for some reason we want to take you from your situation where you're currently at and build something in that area, maybe even around you, you will actually play with us in this building on a weekly basis. So what you're taking a look at right now is the schedule that we're keeping for the real estate side of things. You'll see the Thursday night schedule. We have essential study groups that last 6 months, fix and flip study groups that last 6 months, buy and hold study groups that last 6 months, and those buy and hold study groups will then go into multifamily study groups, which will last 6 months. So we're talking about a 2-year program that you will begin. The minute you say, I'm in, you will actually begin a live interaction with the #1 location in the country we're sitting in right now. Cool. On top of that, the IOS stands for Investor Operating Systems. That's how you'll start your career with us. Velocity Banking is a free training that we give anybody on amortized debt and how to get out of that soon, because student loans, car loans, mortgages are very evil debt. We'll talk about that today and why you might want to get out of it. And then you'll see some other stuff on there. We do have Q&As, so don't worry. The stuff that you're going to drum up some questions probably from this meeting. In fact, you should. Intelligent people do. And you'll bring those back to a live Q&A, or you'll watch a recording, and then you'll get on the line with myself or my wife or Eric, you've heard about, and we'll communicate with you live. So our goal is to create partners that we work with personally. That's our intention, right? So we're not talking about you being part of a machine. We're talking about you starting to work with people, okay? All right. The next slide you see is actually, I took this screenshot off my Facebook page to explain the possibilities. This young man that you see on the screen right here, his name is Daniel Kwok. This young man came to us when he was 20 years old. Today he's 24 years old. There's really 2 figures in this picture that I want you to see, and pictures are worth 1,000 words, right? There's Dan Kwok, who is the young kid, and then there's the guy in blue on the top picture. His name is Eddie Kirch. Danny Kwok is standing in front of 24 units that he just closed in the title company in the picture underneath it. Okay, so this is the reality that's happening in our group. The guy in blue, Ed Kirch, actually has been in real estate for 30 years. So let's talk about this. I want to show you how somebody that doesn't know anything about real estate benefits, and how professionals that might be watching this could benefit, okay? Which are coming from 2 different extremes. You with me? So when Dan Kwok came in, he went through his essential study group, then he went through his fix and flip study group, started doing wholesaling and fix and flip, then he went through his buy and hold study group, and then he's doing rental properties 1 door at a time, and then eventually gets into his 6-month study group with multifamilies, interacting with Ed and the possibility out there, and there he is standing in front of his 24 units that he closed in that title company. He's definitely benefiting. Let's talk about Ed Kirch. When I met Ed Kirch, Eddie was a different story altogether. He had heard about this building for 5 years as a 30-year professional. So he's running a brokerage and a property management company in a town close to our building here. And a friend of his had come down to the building, loved what he heard, just like you're going to love it, goes away, talks to Eddie that week and says, Ed, have you heard about this building in Downers Grove, Illinois that's doing some great stuff with real estate? And Ed says, yeah, they're probably scamming people. And I'd stay as far away from that building as possible. So this guy, Mark, says, I don't know, Ed, you should probably come and check it out. So Eddie came down to the building and this intro meeting that you're experiencing to convince his friend, or punch the holes in the situation for his friend so his friend isn't making a mistake. Good friend, Ed was, actually. After the meeting, and keep in mind, Mark had left Eddie that night because we have something else for Mark to do. He doesn't just come to this meeting, he actually moves into his career. So Mark is actually moving further into his career as Eddie's watching what's going on in this room. You understand? So at the end of the meeting, Ed walks up to me and says, hey man, this is a good meeting. How much did you get paid for running it? I could probably do some public speaking. I've run a RIA, I'm professional. I might want some checks for doing the speaking. I'm like, well, technically, Ed, I didn't get paid a dime. In fact, I invested money and pay a $10,000 to $12,000 a month bill to have the doors open so that you could sit down. He said, why do you do it? I go, well, it's an ecosystem, right? So all the resources, there's professionals like you have walked in, properties have walked in that I've bought, all the deals that I have currently today have walked into the building and I purchased them from somebody that was wholesaling them, a student. The collaborations I needed to get stuff done, walked in the building. I said, it's almost like the field of dreams. If you build it, they'll come. And he goes, okay, I see it. But he was curious because we didn't ask him for any money. Does that make sense? He's like, there's no closing tables like we had at my RIA. I'm like, oh yeah, we're not here to take it, but intelligent people don't make decisions right away. The intelligent people do some research. They create questions, right? Impulsive people make decisions right away, and you should never be impulsive. He goes, I like that. So he comes back the next week, he goes to the Velocity banking session, which I think you should come to in our building here, even if it's through a camera. And he sits down, and after the Velocity banking, he comes to me, he says, can we grab some food across the street? I'm like, sure. So we go across the street, and this is a guy who's been in the industry for 30 years. He looks at me, he goes, I've never seen anything like that. He goes, you're helping people clear their mortgages away in 5 to 7 years. We're talking about 30-year mortgages in 5 to 7 years, and they don't have to give any extra money to the bank. And nobody has ever actually brought that up. I've never thought about it myself. I haven't seen anything like that. He goes, that will change my business right there, the 2 hours I just spent. This was the second week he came back, right? I said, absolutely, bring all your agents. We'll actually create more business for you based on what you just saw. And he did. The third week he comes back, he experiences the building again. He goes, I've seen enough. I'm ready to become a student. So here's a guy, 30 years in the industry, becomes a student. He goes through a whole year of study groups with us. And then after that year, we have dinner, and he says, I want to help you guys out. I want to help everybody out. He goes, I want to run the buy and hold in the multifamily study group based on my background. And that's exactly what he did. So Eddie, you'll notice he's in the picture on the bottom at the closing, right? So there's Ed next to Dan in the red shirt at the closing. Now, here's the important thing. Is his business benefiting? As a broker at the closing, does he make money? Of course he does. He's a professional. He deserves money. Who's going to manage that 24 units after their purchase? Right, Ed's property management company. Next to Eddie in that closing is an attorney. That guy is actually one of our students too. Came in the back of the room, sits down like all the real estate professionals, their arms crossed, wondering what the heck's going on. And he became a student, went through all the study groups, and now he's benefiting by being in that closing. So if you're a professional on the line here, you may want to think about helping us open up a situation in your city that we could organically create your clients through, right? So you can attract other professionals and almost make it, ready for this? Write this down. If you want to know exactly what we've done out of this building and around the country, we're creating real estate ecosystems where professionals' businesses are getting better. What I learned from Eddie about what he's doing with us is simply this. I'm creating my clients. I don't have to wait for them to walk in. And I'm creating people that don't have bad habits in real estate. Isn't that fantastic? So his business is better because he came down, saw what we're doing, and then plugged in and helped. You guys with me on that? So if you're a professional online watching this right now, you may want to think about that because we're looking to open up situations. What better way to open up a situation than around your business and the network of business owners that you currently have? Isn't that great? We'll talk about tonight. Hopefully tonight you'll see, or today you'll see exactly why that will be powerful for you. What you guys are coming to see here on this video is basically just an opportunity. It's a set of circumstances that makes it possible to do something. We're hoping, if you're already doing real estate, taking your real estate game to the next level, kind of with the information I just gave you. But if you've never done real estate like I did, my wife and I, we actually lost our ability to pay for our place downtown over Michigan Avenue. We lost our ability to pay for a place in South Beach. Right, so we had lost a lot of stuff, including I used to make $212,000 a year as an executive in charge of 4 states, and I lost that. All right, so I was coming down here because I was actually looking for my next step in life, and I wanted to be real estate. So I was coming down desperate, unemployed, all that stuff. Well, I don't know how you're coming in. That's how I came in. The screen that you're looking at right now, the name of the company that has really helped me do real estate, the classes that we have taken are being piped out of a server out of Utah from this company. Right, I checked out some other stuff in other real estate investing education companies. Just when I landed here, this absolutely was the best one because they weren't going to leave me. They gave me classes for life, and they gave me a support system like nobody else had. So it was just one I chose. All right, a disclosure. I am an independent marketing affiliate with that last company you just saw. In fact, when I say there's a good chance you could make 6 figures this year working with us, that is what you're going to make the 6 figures on while you're learning the real estate. Cool? In fact, when the 20-year-old stepped up and said, hey, I can make 6 figures, I'm like, yes, you can make 6 figures on this by inviting people to this situation. If for some reason they'd like to join us, you will be compensated. Okay? I am an independent marketing affiliate. Disclaimer, the only license that I have is a driver's license. I'm not a broker, I'm not an agent, I'm not an accountant, I'm not an attorney, I'm not a financial planner. In fact, I don't even need a driver's license to own the properties that I own today. So keep that in mind. You don't need any specific licenses to be a real estate investor. We can just get you taught up and get you going. The intellectual property that you're taking pictures of, if you're doing so, is not yours. It is Renatus's and ours. We put the PowerPoint together. The intention of this meeting here today is two reasons. Education services and the independent marketing affiliate. What does that mean? Real estate and making money right away. Real estate, making money, that's it. We're gonna describe the real estate aspects of things and making money. Cool. And the way that I'm going to go over the education services is by training, by doing some trainings here that even if you never come back, you'll probably get something out of. All right. Okay, so let's get into this. The real estate progression that a lot of us go through, in fact, I went through, is on the screen right here. But it also talks about how you come to this meeting. So when I bring this slide up in front of a room, I'm like, okay, everybody in the room fits onto this slide right now. Some people are employees or unemployed. Some people are self-employed like Uber drivers or agents. Some people are business owners like contractors that have crews working in houses that they're not in. And some people are investors, which just using their money to make money. Now there's two types of investors when it comes to real estate. It's the ones that we meet that are doing well, that want to do better. And there's the ones that do have money, they have a financial planner, but they want to get rid of the financial planner because they're getting single-digit returns and they want to start getting double-digit returns, okay? I like both, obviously, but I've helped a lot of folks, the latter folks, where they retire from a job. They're like, hey, I want to take my money and use it. I just want to make sure I'm doing it and I know what I'm doing, right? So I don't know how you're vectoring into this group. Are you vectoring in retired with some type of resources to use and you're ready to go? Are you vectoring in as a business owner and you want to do some real estate, knowing how to run a business? Are you vectoring in because you're self-employed, you can't ever have a boss, you want to take your game to the next level through real estate? Or are you vectoring as an employee, like I was, never wanting, getting out of the job, never wanting, having another job again? I can tell you this, because of the two components, the making money right away and the real estate, my wife and I have never needed a job since we came down to this meeting. Now, keep in mind, we were both unemployed and desperate when we got down here. We were looking for a way to make money. And we've never needed a job since we come down here because of the two components, okay? Let's talk about why you're here. So the last slide is who's in the room. Let's talk about why you might be in the room. And I'm gonna do it through the four currencies. Now, there are only 4 currencies on the planet. If somebody says there are more, you can fight them after this little training. But the nice thing about this training is, when I came down here for money, and that's it. That's all I had, and I'm like, money. I definitely need some money. Got to feed a kid, got to feed a wife, got to pay some for a roof. Money. So I was without money because I'd lost everything, and I'm looking for money. What I didn't realize in 38 years of living were that I was actually working with 3 other currencies to get money. Okay, and I love the fact that we go over this training every single week because I can see the faces as I go over this. There's a lot of faces that are reacting to a new awareness, if you would. Would you guys agree that money's a currency? Yeah, you take $5 down to McDonald's, get a Happy Meal. You guys agree that time's a currency? That's right. Employees use time the most as a currency. They give up their entire lives until they need a hip replacement in their late 60s or early 70s. How about knowledge? You guys agree that knowledge is a currency? Yeah, you're right. So the more you know, the more you're worth. Doctors should make more than customer service agents because of what they've learned and how they can help you. Customer service agents just need to know how to read a script, $10 an hour. Does this make sense? And what about relationships? You guys agree that's a currency? Let's talk about that for a second, because that's when I do these meetings live, a lot of folks I don't know, relationship is a currency. Let's show you how you use relationship as a currency right now. If you have any kind of loan or line of credit or something, if you're working with a bank in some capacity, your credit score is your relationship score with the entire banking industry. If you walk into a bank and say, hey, I'm looking for some dough, they're gonna pull up you're gonna give them your social, they'll pull up your credit score, and they're like, hey, you have treated all of our buddies really good. Welcome to the club, we got some money for you. If you haven't treated all their buddies really good, they're gonna kick you out of the bank. Does that make sense? Now, let's take that to another level. So that's banking, and you guys all, oh yeah, that's obvious, Scott. Let's talk about the next level. What about your friends and family? Do you have a credit score with your friends and family? Think about this. Is there somebody in your life that you would never trust a pet or a child to for a weekend in your life? You're right? You guys are like, yeah, I do love that person, can hang out, but I'd never give them something that needs to be fed or watered, for that matter, right? So that's your relationship score with your friends and family. Now, you have one of those, and I'll tell you this, when I came down to this meeting, a lot of people in my life had seen me become very successful in corporate American sales and then seen me lose it all. So when I walked into family functions, they were like, "Oh, we're praying for you. Is life any better?" And I'm like, So when I became a real estate investor and they asked me that question, I'm like, "Oh yeah, we're doing great. We found something new." Like, "Oh, you found a job?" I'm like, "Oh no, we are now real estate investing." Now here's what they would hear. They would say, "Oh, well, we thought you were broke." I'm like, "Oh, I am broke." And I admitted it. I'm broke. And they're like, "Well, how are you doing real estate?" Now, let me show you how this works. They didn't know how to do real estate without money or credit, but I was learning how to do real estate without money or credit. So I explained to them how I was wholesaling properties without using money or credit. And there are people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s that had never heard of that before. So my new knowledge created a better relationship. They're like, "Oh, wow, you're smarter than a lot of people I know." So my knowledge created a new relationship with the people that were pitying me. Does this make sense? So my currency went up in my knowledge and my currency went up in my relationship. I was closer to working with them in real estate, even with their resources, because they realized I knew what I was doing. Do you think about it like that? Let's talk about the most valuable currency on here. Time is the most valuable currency. In fact, I believe that if you had bank accounts that were big enough, you'd never go to work, right? I want to talk about that time being the currency that you should be here for. You have kids, you have family members, you have Italy waiting for you, going to Spain, Germany, wherever you want to travel to, waiting for you. Unfortunately, you got a job getting in the way. Okay, disclaimer. It's time to actually talk about your future in a common sense way. Okay, that's why we have this disclaimer. A lot of the stuff that I'm about to show you is going to trigger your BS meters. Right? You're gonna be like, "Oh, come on, really? Come on, you know it." That's why you actually go to every meeting like this. So let's talk about this. I believe that 5% of the people that watch this are going to hit the kind of financial goals they really want to hit. And I'm not saying that because I know you. I don't know you. I'm saying that because 5% of the world controls 95% of the wealth in the world. And 95% of the humans in the world are working for some of that 5% that those people are kicking out. And you might think that's evil. That's just organic, right? It's just the way to go. So because it takes work, because it takes commitment, because it takes failing and then succeeding after you measure, a lot of folks just don't want to do that. They just want to sit in a cubicle and get paid for showing up, and they give up their entire lives to do it, right? I don't know if that's going to be you in the future. I'm hoping that I can affect as many people's lives like mine was affected when I got down here. That's it. So this disclaimer simply says, unless you work, you ain't going to make it. All right. Do me a favor. Take a picture of this. This is the blueprint, right? And let's make life simpler than we normally make it. What I mean by that is simple. We're trying to figure out how to become successful. Like, there's all these ideas, and you see rich people like, "Oh, how do you do it?" Let's make it simple. There's people that are doing well, and there's people that are not doing so well. So let's take the focus for it. What we got to focus on from now on is different than maybe what you focused on in the past. And I'm gonna speak for myself. When I got down here, I was literally focused on low financial efficiency stuff. I woke up every single morning in debt. And the reason I got in traffic and I went to a boss under these fluorescent lights and dealt with politics was because if I didn't get up and go to work, I'd lose my house, my car, and my wife. Period. So I woke up negatively fear of loss every single morning. Then, at the end of the week, when I got my check, funny thing, gremlins would come in and chew off 40% of it. I don't know if that happens for you, but income taxes were taken out before I touched my check. Then I got a net check at the end of the week. I would go buy liabilities. I'd go buy electricity. I'd buy some internet. I'd buy a house. I'd buy cars. All expenditures. These are liabilities that aren't paying me. I'm just paying for them so I can have them. And then the reason all that happened was because somebody in my life, parents, grandparents, uncles, aunts, professors, told me that, "Hey, this is how life works, kid. You learn some stuff, and then you get a job, and you make some fixed income all year long, and then maybe you get a raise or a promotion or a different job, and you get a little bit more money. And then you do that again all week long." And really the purpose I had every single week, I wasn't trying to change the world at my job. I was just trying to get a check at the end of the week. That was it, right? When I got down here, there was a shift. There was a different vibration in the group when I walked in. I was resistant to it because you know how you are when you're not doing that good, and then you meet happy people. Yeah, I was a little resistant. But what I realized when I actually just let it come in was that these people were focusing on high financial efficiency stuff, right? They weren't fighting traffic anymore. They were out of debt, so they didn't need to really feed a debt monster. Clear that away. How would you like to get rid of the house debt? How would you like to get rid of the car debt, student loan debt, right? How would you like to actually live a life where you're the bank instead of answering to a bank? Well, we're going to talk about that. That's so exciting for you. Then from there, write-offs. How would you, instead of having the government tell you how much you owe in taxes, how would you like to tell the government how much you owe in taxes? How would you like that? And what would be the preferred number? Okay. Liabilities. Instead of paying for stuff, how would you like to get paid for stuff? I'm talking about your cell phone paying you. I'm talking about your cars paying you. I'm talking about your kids paying you. I'm talking about your house paying you. And then after that, after the house that you live in paying you, how about multiple houses after that paying you? How's that sound? I know you're like, how's that gonna work? All right. Finally, what we should start with, what you have to start with is new and controlled income. If my parents would have presented a different idea in this capacity, everything else would change, which means that my kids' lives are changing because I'm already there. New and controlled income is something that you do that you've never done before, make money on it, and then you measure and go, and then you get better. Does that make sense? So the first time I did a wholesale deal, it was hard. I was like dotting the I's, crossing the T's, asking for lots of help, right? So we got that one done, and then the second one was like, yeah, this is easier. So why not work on 2 or 3 at the same time? My wife and I did one short sale, and we're like, hey man, we got to figure it out. Let's work on, at one point, work on 12 at the same time, because we got loss mitigators that were, we got short sale packages and the loss mitigators, 12 at a time. So what we're talking about is you learning how to do something new, and then be able to do more than one. Does this make sense? Okay, so when it comes to new and controlled income, we actually have 2 streams of income, 2 new incomes coming into your life that we're suggesting that you could be a part of with this group. One is very obvious. You came here through real estate or a real estate idea. It's real estate, okay? There's different levels of real estate investing you'll progress through. The other is an invite. What do you mean by invite, Scott Rowe? Well, we already talked about the IMA thing, the independent marketing affiliate. I already disclosed that I am an independent marketing affiliate with this company. Anybody can be an independent marketing affiliate with the company. So let's talk about that for a second. When I suggest that you can make 6 figures annually, or when I say it in front of every room, 6 figures annually, what I'm suggesting is if you invite somebody to this webinar, you can invite somebody to this recording that you're watching, or you can invite somebody to a live local situation that we have in some city. And if they sit back and are like, you know what, this is interesting, I think I want to get my questions answered, and then we answer their questions, you could get paid $1,000 to $10,000 per person that you invite that wants to get started with us. Isn't that incredible? So when the 20-year-old heard that, he's like, even if I'm 20, I'm like, anybody can make that money starting next week. In fact, you could decide that you're not even interested in real estate investing and still get paid to work with us in that capacity. It's pretty great. So I'm going to show you the next slide here. So watch what pops up here. Now, I don't know if there's any attorney generals watching. I don't know if there's any federal regulators watching. If I showed you my income without actually getting somebody interested in that, then it would be enticement. However, if we go to the FTC's website, and I've actually put this on the screen, you should not start with anybody in any kind of business relationship unless you're sure that they're doing well enough or headed or in a place that you want to be. Because if for some reason you started doing business, somebody's in a place you don't want to be, or you're doing better than they are already, you're actually detracting from your life, right? So what we've done, you can check out the URL, the web address is right there in the top, so take a picture of that right there. It's at the ftc.gov site. And here are 10 questions that you should ask people that you're about to do business with. And I want to highlight one question so that we can actually clear this away, and then we can get to the answer for you. Because I know you probably want to know how much money I make, right? Well, how much money do you make? I get this question all the time in live rooms, and because the FTC says I should answer that, you should ask it, let's talk about that. All right, what you're looking at on the screen right now, remember that Renatus name? Remember seeing the Renatus name? Let's just make it bigger. See that on the top left? The little Santa Hannah? On the top right, you're going to see my name. And what you're looking at is actually the earnings that I've gotten paid, and we'll actually give you the timing. So if you look on the bottom, earned to date, you're going to see $3.83 $3,828,000 and some change. That number, and this is accurate to this date this webinar is being done, we have not needed a job because this group gave us the opportunity to actually invite people down and help them change their life too, and we got paid to do that, okay? Now that's pretty good. Let me talk about the last 10 weeks though. If you take a look at the shown on page number, which is $162,000, we get paid twice a week. So on September 25th, we got paid, then they paid us 3 days later, then they paid us 4 days later, then they paid us 3 days later, and what that's telling you is we get paid every Tuesday and Friday. So will you if you start inviting people that want to start. You invite somebody here to this webinar, to a building, and they're like, I want to get started, and here's what I want to do at this company, you'll actually get paid. Sound good? So let's scroll up. From September 25th until 11:30, now the key is the dates. How many weeks is that? It's about 72 days, which turns out to be about 10 weeks. So in the last 10 weeks, my wife and I have earned $162,000. Now, ready for this? Our first 12 months with this group, this company, we got paid $159,000. And the reason I think that's significant, what I'm bringing up to you, is because we're going to go back to the new and controlled income. Okay? So we made $159,000 our first 12 months, and then we sat down and said, hey, how can we make more money? There are cameras in every single room in this building that we actually do live stuff with students. We can only fit 200 people in this room, but we can fit an infinite amount of people online. And that was one of those systems. So, okay, so we made so much money the first year, how can we make more? Now, here's the nice thing for you. We've already created all those systems. You don't have to. They already came out of our brains, have been masterminded, been rolled around. Are we inviting you to help us with that? Absolutely. We could always use more help. So think about that. If you're interested in making money starting next week, you could make 6 figures this year and then have new and controlled income to the point where you're doing $162,000 every 10 weeks too. All right. The other new and controlled income is all based in real estate. Okay, if you're not already doing it, that becomes new. If you are already doing it, let's give you new ways of making even more money in the industry that you're currently making money in. All right. So next slide. Let's talk about, take a picture of this. This pie chart represents what you're currently going through with what I like to call the oligarchy of America. We are nothing more than designed human resources for the banks, the corporations, and the government. Okay? Our lives and our currencies are being given away to these entities so that we can actually exist. I want to change that. Let me talk about the living and the taxes for a second. I would get up every single morning and I would spend 2 hours in the morning before I got to work. 1 hour getting ready to be a vice president. The second hour I would spend in traffic, going from downtown to the western suburbs where my office was, took me an hour in traffic. I don't know what traffic is like in your area, but for us, it's an hour here in Chicago. So I would give up 2 hours of my currency, my time currency, for $0 every single morning. And I had planned on doing that until I didn't have a job anymore. Right? And I found this place. All right, so ready for this? It gets worse. So 2 hours getting there. Then I would spend 4 hours in the morning working my butt off. So I'm on the hamster wheel. I'm spinning, right? But how much of that money did I get to keep? Zero. And I'll tell you why. We are an indentured servant to our government. The first few hours that I gave in the morning were actually taken away in income tax before I touched my check. Probably done for you too. So they took away 3 to 4 hours a morning on my income check. If they took away 3, the fourth one went for gas and the tax on the gas, tax on the food, tax on the clothing, tax on the property. And lots of taxes out there. So my first 4 hours of the job, what I realized was I was giving all that up. My currency of time wasn't producing something I could take home. So you got 2 hours in the morning getting there, 4 hours at the job not making any money. Then I go to lunch for an hour, and you're on a leash around the office. You can't go anywhere but the office, right? And you're spending money. So what are we looking at? Looking at 2, 4, and then another 1. That's 7 hours before you start actually making money every day. Then you come back from lunch. You make 4 hours of money for your family. Then you get back and road rage for an hour, and you sit down in your chair. And you know, you escape with your beer, and you do that for 50 years of your life. Unless you know it, you don't think about it. So tomorrow when you go to work, I want you looking at the clock going, he's right. And when you get sick and tired of that relationship, you might want to consider a new one. we've helped a lot of people change those relationships with our group around the country. All right, let's talk about the interest for a second. I want to talk about interest because I believe that one of the most evil things that happen to us as Americans is what the banks have done to conspire against us and our money. Okay, and let's talk about this. I was sitting in a meeting in Seattle not too long ago, and I brought this slide up, and a guy in the back, sharp dressed, raises a hand, and he says, "Hey, if you're suggesting that you're paying 33% in interest, I shouldn't have been watching this meeting." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not, sir, but you probably are." He goes, "No, I'm not." He was in denial. And I said, "Well, what's your interest? Do you have a mortgage?" He goes, "Yeah, I got a mortgage." 30 years? Yes. And I said, "Well, what's your interest rate on that mortgage?" He goes, 3.5%. And because I know about this stuff now, I didn't know it back then, I was as ignorant as he was. Because I know now, I'm like, "Well, you're spending that more than that in interest on that mortgage, 3.5, more than 33%. You're paying more than 33% on that mortgage." He goes, "No, I'm not." So I asked him, I said, "Do you know how to figure out a mortgage based on the interest rate of your loan?" He goes, "Yeah, 3.5. I go, No. Do you know can you tell me what your principal to interest ratios are based on the number that you just gave me?" And he asked me this. He goes, "Do you need to know how much my loan is?" I go, "Doesn't matter. 100,000, million, doesn't matter. I'm talking about the ratios at the end when you pay it. How much interest do you pay at the end of that 30-year mortgage?" "I don't know, but it's not that big." I'm like, "It is." Now here's the equation that you're gonna get. Take this number. Whatever your interest rate on your mortgages, your car loans, your student loans are all amortized. Multiply by 2 and then add a 0. So in that case, when he said 3.5, I multiplied by 2 in my head, I said 7, and then I added a 0 and it came out to be 70%. So I understood that he was gonna pay 70% principal to interest rate. 70% of his principal is what he's gonna pay when he's finished paying that loan. But he didn't know that. Neither did I when I sat down. You guys ready for this? It's gonna be hard for you guys to take. Let's talk about the consumers. Let's talk about us as consumers. When we sit down with a lender, and that lender, we're like, "Hey, I'd like to get a loan. My wife and I, we just got a new house for $200,000. Want to know exactly what kind of rate we can get." And they pull up our credit. Well, let's pull up your credit score. "Hey, congratulations, consumer. We've got you a 5% rate." What's the next question from the consumer on this side of the desk 9 times out of 10? Oh, you know it, right? You just said it in your head. "Oh, how much is my monthly payment?" Because we have been taught by this oligarchy to think about our lives every 30 days. And we were taught through conditioning. Your student loans, your house loans, your car loans, your insurance payments, your electric payments, your phone payments, every payment you have is every 30 days. So that's how you live life. I gotta survive every 30 days, so I gotta pay every 30 days. Anything I'm gonna take out new, I gotta budget every 30 days. We don't think about our lives. We don't pump the football down the field. We're just thinking about 10 yards at a time. And that's unfortunate. Because if we were thinking about it down the field, we'd create a better life for our kids. Let's take a look at this. Here's what I know. That guy's paying 70% interest, and this is why. You see this graph on your screen right now? What you're looking at right now is the graphical representation of a truth in lending statement. You know, the statement in the back of the loan where they put all the figures and it's like, "Oh, I don't know how to figure that out, so just let me sign this loan and get my house." They do it for a reason, so everything in the back is mystical and you can't figure it out, just so emotionally you're attached to signing. But if a lender put this in front of you and explained what was going on, you might reconsider and walk out. That's why they don't. So what you're looking at is the graphic representation of a 5% mortgage, 5% interest rate on a 30-year mortgage at $200,000. You'll notice on the 0 side, you're actually paying 75% interest because the red is how much house you're paying and the blue is how much profit the bank's making. So that's 75% interest on that first payment. If you pay for 5 years, look at that graph. You pay for 5 years in, you're at 66% interest. You're still paying way more interest than you're getting house. Now you'll notice that if you go down the line here, that there's a red line right in the middle or close to the middle. That is when things shift. So technically that red line is you guys are splitting, you're paying half of the payments coming towards your house and half the payments going towards the bank in interest. And then it starts shifting to the point where you start winning. But let me tell you something, the banks didn't want you to win. They came up with this really crazy product. So you pay for your mortgage for 5 years and guess what happens? You're gonna get some type of correspondence in the mail. It's gonna say, "Hey, congratulations, Joe. You've paid on time for 5 years, and you qualify. And that qualification makes you feel really good. Oh, look, I qualify for a refi. You said it. You know it. So what they're going to invite you to do is, and they're going to put it in your 30-day brain language. They're like, hey, if you come and take advantage of this requalification, we're going to adjust your interest rates. We're going to lower your interest rates, and you're going to save $100 a month or $150 a month or $200 a month. And in your brain, you're like, wow, if I don't have to give that $200 a month to the bank, I can do something else with it. You think it's a savings. But what they're going to do is we're going to adjust it right back to the zero line so that their next payment pays for less house than your future payment would have paid. And how many people do you know that have refied out 1, 2, 3, 4 times? To the point where when they go back to get that other refi, the bank's like, well, you're a little too old to get refi. We've got this other great program for you called a reverse mortgage. Well, we already know how much we're going to buy your house for. We're going to buy all that equity. And we plan on you dying before that happens, so we're going to get even more equity. And this is your banking industry. Cool? Now, let me give you some advice. It's not advice I'm going to give you here. I don't have time to do this training. What you should do is come back to one of our Velocity banking sessions, and you could come to it right here in this building on a Thursday night. Let us know. Let us know that you want to come to that thing, and we can put you in that room right over here, and you can actually sit there on your computer, watch us show you live exactly how that works, and you'll be blown away. The only thing, here's what we do. We make sure that the people in that room bring a bowl. They have to bring a Tupperware bowl or a glass bowl, or sometimes they bring a Chinese, sushi, whatever, a little black and clear thing, because your brain is going to explode in that room, and we want to make sure that it doesn't ruin your floor. Does that make sense? So, of course, that doesn't really happen. We just make that joke so you laugh and I laugh. It's my favorite joke in the meeting. All right. The point is, what you experience in that training, the Velocity banking training, is the same thing that Eddie Kirch experienced the night he came after 30 years of being in the industry and came out and says, I've never seen anything like that. I'm bringing all my agents. We're going to create more business because of what I just learned. I've helped people get into mortgages, and I'm going to help them get out of mortgages. So you may want to learn exactly how to get out of your amortized debt quick within 7 years. How about paying this off in 7 years with 2/3 less interest? Which, and let me give you some stats. You're done with this loan in 7 years. This loan you're looking at pays $186,000 in interest. If you come back to Velocity Banking, you're going to see exactly how you're only going to pay $52,000. You're going to save over $130,000 in interest, and you're not going to have to make any additional payments to the bank. You're just going to establish a new relationship with the bank. You're going to walk down and say, hey, I know what you're doing with me, and here's what we're going to do new. Cool? I'm inviting you to come back completely free, get to the Velocity Banking session. All right, next slide. Did you take a picture of the last slide? Let me tell you something. If my wife would have shown me this, if she had said, hey, if she'd have come home and said, hey, this is our life now, and if we hang out with these wealthy real estate investors, our life could be this, I'd have run down to the meeting. I would have asked them to start a new meeting so I could come and see it earlier. And I'll tell you what, how would you like to actually make 80% of your money take home and only have to pay 10 and 10, 10 to the bank and 10 in taxes? Would that be worth your next year of your life? In fact, 8 weeks. After 8 weeks after I started working with this group, we had converted our life from the big pie chart to this pie chart. Let's talk about that today. Now, what I'm about to show you is my Tupperware bowl moment for you today. So I want to cover the taxes, and here's what I believe. I believe you should know more about taxes because you're already paying them, so that when you start making more money in real estate, you're not giving it away. We'll talk about real estate next. But even if you don't want to be a real estate investor, we can help you pay less in taxes. You guys got this? Take a picture of the screen. This is called the tax matrix. All right, now that you've taken a picture, let me back it off and do the training. Okay, there are two, we'll talk about high financial efficiency and low financial efficiency. High financial efficiency folks don't pay the kind of taxes, well, those are wealthy folks. They don't pay the kind of taxes as poor people, right? And it really starts, the difference is 2 words. You either control stuff or you own stuff, period. That's it. Control or own. Let's talk about what you have to control or own first. We start with cash flow. You are either signed up on at your job through your Social Security number. So if you sign up with your Social Security number for your cash flow, you own your cash flow. I have not done that in over 7 years, right? So I haven't gotten a check in my name in over 7 years. What I am getting it through is an EIN number. So I'm actually earning all of the money that I earn today is controlled into a company bank account. So 100% comes in off of rents. Even the money that I showed you earlier, the $3.8 million that we've earned, comes in and goes into a bank account, business bank account first, right? The cool thing about it, and you guys will get this, if a renter, hold on a second, if a renter gets up out of their rental situation to pay their rent to me, is the IRS outside the door going, oh, is that going to that Scott guy? Give me a third of that check and I'll take the rest down to the property management company? Or does 100% of the rent check go to the property management company and into a business bank account? All right, so you get the answer, right? Okay, so I changed my life to make sure that I got all the money first instead of having the government get between me and my money. If you're interested, you'll do the same thing. Let's talk about why. On the income tax side, an average person is going to pay 33% in income tax before they even see their net check. That was me. On the top side, I'm suggesting it's zero. So how would you like to have all of the money that you've created through a company go straight into a bank account ready for you to use? And that's really the difference. The difference is you're either spending money or you are using money. Okay? Now, let's make this very simple. Let me show you how much of an expert on taxes you already are. Do you have a cell phone? Oh, you do? Whose name is on that cell phone? What I mean by it is when we go to like your carrier, like AT&T or T-Mobile or something, did you sign the docs and now you have a cell phone? Okay. In order for you to possess a cell phone, you would have had to make money to pay for that cell phone first, or the IRS would be very interested in how you have a cell phone without income, right? So you have to make money first in your name in order to have a cell phone in your name. You guys with me on that? Do you have a car? You do? All right, who pays for that car? Oh, you do? Who pays for the insurance? Oh, you do? Who pays for the gas? You do? Oh, who pays you back on that? Anybody? Oh, no, why not? If you say you don't know, that's a currency. You're bankrupt in a currency because 95% of the people in the world don't know this stuff. Stay right there. See this cell phone? Whose name do you think this cell phone's in? I'll bet you guys guessed my company right away. Look how much you already know, right? You know this stuff. You're not playing with it, right? You know there's a tennis racket and what to do with it. You're just not playing tennis. Let's play some tennis. So yeah, my company's name isn't who pays for the bill. My company does. I still use it, and I use it to make money. We have 6 vehicles today: 2 Escapes, a Fiat, a Jaguar, even a Italian supercar, and a company van. But we don't own those vehicles. The companies own them. That way, the insurance is paid by the company, the gas paid for by the company. I don't have to make money to drive those cars. I get to choose the one I want to drive, but they're all owned by the company. Let's take it a step further for real estate. Is it possible to use the Velocity banking session to pay off your house early and then quit claim the house to the company or sell the house to the company? In my case, I'd quit claim it because I don't want to create a taxable event. I understand real estate. All right, let's take it a step further. Life tax, either going to be on the bottom, you paying it, or your company's going to pay it. Let me talk about this. You know, the policemen and the firefighters and the teachers at your sons and daughters' schools, they got to get paid, right? So you're either paying it through property taxes that you live in, or the properties that your company owns is paying it. So those very important things in life are still getting paid. Sales tax, your company can pay it or you can pay it. Choose your company to pay it so you don't have to pay it. Does that make sense? Okay, let's talk on the bottom. The bottom, you make 100% of your own money. You get 33% taken off before you touch your check in income tax, 50% in expenditures, that's just to live a life. Then you get 10% in life tax to live in the neighborhood that you live in. It means that you have about 7% left over. And here's how I would work. I'd get on the hamster wheel and work, and I'd take my 7% and hand it to a financial planner. And I work all week long the next week, and I hand 7% to the financial planner. And I work hard all week long, and I hand it 7%. The financial planner is actually on the golf course playing golf while I'm at work, right? He's using my money to help me retire at 70 while he's living a better life on the golf course currently. Does that make sense? It makes sense for you. It makes dollars for him. So let's change that. Let's look at the top. Top side, you generate 100% of revenues, right? You give 0 away in taxes. You use 50% on all the things you shifted up. So you're going to shift up your cell phone to the top side. You're going to shift up your cars from the bottom to the top. You're going to shift up your house from the bottom to the top. You're going to start moving it all into a controlled situation versus an owned situation. Life tax, same thing. so that you have 40% left over. That's better. Very important point right here. Your company is now going to be taxed on income on that 40%, not 100%. So let's take a look at this. On the bottom side, humans get taxed on 100% of their money before they touch it. Companies get taxed after expenses. They've touched it, they touch it more, they touch it more, they touch it more, and then finally there's an income tax that has to be taken out of what's left over. How would you like to get taxed on what's left over instead of before you touch your money? That's all you have to think. Now, at this point, you have to think to yourself, do I want to be like that 24-year-old kid who's got all those properties? And that 24-year-old kid, the Asian kid, he's got 76 doors now. Right? Do I want to be like that guy? Do I want to be like this Scott Rowe guy who's got properties and he's got income coming in, he's doing the meeting, doesn't have a job anymore, never had a job since he came down here to this meeting, even though I was broke and unemployed? So what do you want to do with your money? You want to actually make it through a company? Do you want to make it through your... Now you may ask yourself, well, Scott, I have a job. I can't really go to my job tomorrow and tell my boss how it's going to go with my pay. I'm like, you're right. However, our intention is that you make 6 figures this year. Our intention, hopefully your intention too, you make 6 figures this year so you can actually walk into the boss's office and say, I'm out of here. Because the first thing that you're going to run through a company if you work with us is that revenue that you're going to get by just helping us distribute the education. Does that make sense? So I'm a distributor of the education. I'm an independent marketing affiliate. When I invite somebody down here and they decide to take me up on the education, I make $1,000 to $10,000 every time that happens. That could happen for you. That can be run through an EIN number to the point where you don't need a job anymore. Then we've really washed this page clean. So instead of actually putting that in as income and getting hammered in taxes, why don't we put it into a cost this year? You can actually buy real estate this year, which becomes an asset next year. All right, let's talk about that. I want you to notice something about this screen. You got a lot of different boxes. You got a risk versus rewards thing. The more you know about real estate, the less risky it becomes, the more rewarding it becomes. But I want you to key in on that bottom right box, 4 levels of real estate investing. And the reason I created that box for this presentation was because you have probably gone through high school, maybe you've gone through college, and you started as a freshman, then you went to sophomore, then you went to junior, then you went to senior. Freshman level real estate investing is wholesaling properties. You do not need money or credit to do it if you learned it how I learned it. Then you move into sophomore level real estate investing, which is fix and flip. Then you move into junior level real estate investing, which is buy and hold. Then senior level real estate investing is you as the bank, the investor. Okay, let's talk about why it graphically looks that way. Ready? The reason it's freshman to senior level real estate investing is in the 2 triangles. When you are doing wholesaling, you will learn from this group how to do it without using money or credit. How to put houses under contract, you'll even get those contracts, but you won't use any money or credit, which means that your risk is nil. You'll even have 30 days where hey, if it doesn't work out in 30 days, it just doesn't work out. The work you got to put in, look at the effort. The work you got to put into wholesaling is tremendous. That's the trade-off. Okay. Now, when you move into fix and flip, you're actually moving into business ownership. Business ownership has contractors working for you and has agents working for you, right? So you're actually going to work less. Take a look at the effort line. The effort actually goes down because you got contractors and realtors working for you, but your risk goes up because now you probably have a relationship and somebody else's money in play. So the risk goes up, but the effort goes down. When you get into buy and hold, your risk goes up because now you're married to a couple that's paying your rent. You're married to the physicality of the property. You're probably married to some institutionalized funds, whether it be a private investor that's going to go along with you or a bank that's going to go along with you. And if the tenants aren't paying, you still got to pay to keep the house. Does that make sense? The effort's going to go down simply because you now have mailbox money coming in. Okay. And then finally, when you get into money lending, it's the greatest amount of risk, which means that if you're working in a group like ours, you should know who you're working with, and it's almost like organic underwriting. Does that make sense? Inside the ecosystem. All right, let's talk about real estate as an ideal investing strategy. I'm going to start with the A in ideal because we're going to talk about traditional investing. When you work with a financial planner, usually they got you in mutual funds, they got you in some precious metals like gold or silver. Okay, so in each of those examples that I just stated, you are in an appreciation game. You buy gold at 20 years old and you hope that by the time you're 7 years old, it's worth more. So when you cash out, you can actually realize all that cash. But with real estate, you want to make money on it while it's appreciating. Let's talk about deductions. You're running real estate investing as a business. So you're going to incur costs. You're going to have interest as deductible. Depreciation for 27 and a half years is deductible as a yield. Expenses on properties or humans like contractors, right? These are all deductions. You can actually look at paperwork for 14 hours a week as a professional real estate investor and start writing off your time. So there's lots of ways to create deductions inside of real estate that you cannot create inside of a mutual fund. Equity, it's one of my favorite. Now, remember I told you in the beginning of this meeting that there's a good shot you become a real estate millionaire in 5 years? This is why. Can I go to my financial planner and say, hey, Mr. Financial Planner, I'd like to buy some gold. Can you go find some gold for half and then get back to me? No, you're buying gold for whatever it's going for, right? Now, let me show you how good at real estate you already are. Would you suggest that I buy my next property at full price? Oh, you wouldn't? Right. You look how good you are already. You should never buy property at full price. And here's the best part. When you buy it for less than full price, you get to keep the equity as an asset on your balance sheet. So please write this down. This will be a very, very good little one-liner for you. The quickest way to become a millionaire in America is to close your way to millionaire, which means that if you buy a $200,000 house and it's got $30,000 in equity, you become worth the $30,000 that you purchased in the equity. So you bought it for 170 grand, but you walk out of the title company $30,000 richer. Isn't that great? Okay, finally, leverage. Oh, this is good. Can you and I go to the bank today and say, hey, Mr. Banker, I'd like to invest in some gold. Could you please lend me $100,000 so I can actually go buy some gold or some mutual funds? Now, here's what the banker's gonna do. They're like, hey, security, right? You come in the next day with a clearer head and you say, hey, Mr. Banker, I have a different idea than I had yesterday. I want to do this 6-unit building. Let me show you something. I want to do this 6-unit building. It's worth $400,000, but I only need $246,000. What do you think the banker will say then? Can we get this man some coffee and some paperwork? Welcome to the bank. So they will take you on as a partner in that game, but they won't take you on as a partner in the mutual fund or gold game. All right, let's go back to this disclaimer. This disclaimer just says that all real estate deals aren't the same. So the one I'm about to show you is a good one. So on this particular 6-unit, which was bought at the county courthouse from a receiver, we're into it for $246,000, but it's worth $400,000. Now let me give you an idea how to fund this thing later on in your life. If you pay off your house, so let's say you pay off a $500,000 house using the velocity banking strategy. You pay off a $500,000 house, you can walk into a bank and get a 75% LTV line of credit on that house. You guys with me on that? So your own house becomes an asset you make money on, not something that costs you money. So now you got a checkbook of, I don't know, $300,000. So when you find a property like this, the house can actually write the check. You don't have to. You guys with me on that? So you write the check off the line of credit, you rehab the situation, then you get another bank to actually cash out the check, the line of credit, by actually putting you in a long-term loan. So the acquisition rehab's $246. That's $154,000 in equity. So the minute you sign all the docs of the title company, you're worth $154,000 more than you were the day before. All right, take a picture. We're almost at the end of this thing. So myrenatus.com is the website you can go check out after this thing. So the two things. This is the company that has paid my wife and I $3.8 million to invite people in to have them become students. They pay us $1,000 to $10,000 when we invite somebody down and the person says, I want to get started as a student. They pay us. They're willing to do the same thing for you. So if you're interested in having this company pay you the same way they're paying us, then we'll give you a chance to do that, okay? But it's also the company that taught me how to do real estate investing, taught me all about the taxes, taught me how to get rid of my amortized debt. These guys taught me everything. This is the founder of the education company. I can tell you this. What he decided to do was, hey, let's make sure that we're taking care of the students instead of selling them something. There's a lot of companies that will actually come into town and sell things for 3 days. They won't stick with you. This guy created a different situation. Let's talk about that. I started with the Essentials program, right? Now, the Essentials program is really 10 classes that will help you before you're a real estate investor. Okay, and if you are a real estate investor, it'll help you anyway. Watch. So you see the essentials: the velocity banking, the tax and legal 1 and 2, the self-directed retirement plans, the understanding credit. Those classes are really dedicated to your current life as a human here in America. and you'll notice that there's a bucket with a bunch of holes in it. I believe that I meet a lot of people, even wealthy people, that are bleeding money in taxes, bleeding money in their misunderstanding about credit, bleeding money in their misunderstanding about amortization. We want to clear that up so we can plug those holes. Those will be the first 5 classes. In fact, I believe you should have probably learned those classes in high school, but the government, the banks, and the corporations don't want you to know that stuff, or else you'd understand why you don't need to be a human resource. Now, after that, I believe that you probably want to do real estate for yourself. Maybe you want to buy your own house. Well, the next set of classes will help you out with that. Real Estate Foundations teaches you exactly how to not get ripped off in a closing. Real estate marketing will teach you how to have properties, monies, professionals finding you. Deal of the Decade will have you find properties that aren't on the MLS. I mean, you can go to a realtor and buy a property, but you're paying too much. You could buy properties that aren't on the MLS and find them. They'll teach you how to do that. Real estate red flags. What should you run from? Who should you run from? It's half the battle of doing great deals. And then finally, creative acquisitions will teach you how to put properties under contract without using money or credit. After that, if you're interested in actually making a career of real estate investing, then you're going to go through the 4 levels of real estate investing, right? We're going to start with wholesaling. Now you're going to notice that negotiations, contracts, title, escrow. You got to negotiate a property, put it under contract, then you have to go to closing. That's core. But the strategies are wholesaling through market analysis. You're going to learn how to do wholesaling without using money or credit. It's great. Fix and flip, second level of real estate investing. You're going to notice that the core classes are exactly the same. However, we're going to change when we get to fix and flip. Fix and flip is cosmetic, carpets and paints. Rehabbing is destruction, construction, right? You take out a wall, you make it an open floor plan, right? You're learning exactly how to maneuver stuff around to make it more valuable. And then finally in fix and flip, you get the land development. Whether it's a plot of land that you buy in a subdivision or you create a subdivision, you're learning how to turn grass into bigger value. Buy and hold. You're going to learn, see the core classes are exactly the same, but then the strategy classes, buy and hold 1 and 2 when you want to be a landlord, managing property managers when you're done being a landlord, home inspections, because that's important, nightly rentals, that's your Airbnb stuff, you got your tenants and rental agreements, but the subject to, you could actually become a landlord without using money or credit. That's the subject to strategy. How would you like to do that? Multifamily, once you've learned how to buy single family homes, why don't we buy more than 1 door in the property? Right? This whole track is dedicated to multifamilies. Then you get no tenants, no toilets or termites. This is usually where the rich people hang out with the paper. So you got lots of money, you've worked your whole life away, you've got a little bit of return, but you want to turn into bigger money and you want to become a lender. This is it right here. Notes, tax liens and deeds, seller finance notes 1 and 2, contract for deed, understanding mortgages because you could create those, being a private hard money lender. All those ideas are for the rich folks that want to actually lend their money and just deal with paper. Commercial real estate, strip malls, corporate complexes, warehousing complexes, storage units, trailer parks, churches, marinas, all that kind of stuff. Short sales, you can help people out of foreclosure and out of a bad situation while you're both benefiting, right? Win-win situations, helping people out of foreclosure and you into a real estate deal. Business management, because you're going to be running a business, you got small business payroll, you got cost segregation, private hard money, raising money in partnerships will help you stay out of jail while you're raising funds, right? Because if you do it wrong, the SEC is going to want to see you in an orange jumpsuit. Let's make sure you take a class and learn how to do it right. Each of these classes I'm going over are 8 hours, by the way. 8-hour classes that you could take on demand starting tomorrow if you wanted to. Retiring real estate. 2 years from now, I'd like to see myself done for good, which means that you will have my cell phone because you're watching this webinar. You will personally have my cell phone if you start with us. You'll have my wife's cell phone. You'll have Eric's cell phone. However, at one point, we're going to go, you know what? Let's drop the cell phones in the bucket of water and retire. So you might as well take advantage of it for 2 years and be at my retirement party. After that, I'm going to be doing this. The wealth and acceleration in real estate investing means that you might be borrowing my money because I'm a bank. You just won't know it's me. That makes sense? So this is going to be like beyond just retiring in real estate. This is going to become a bank. Okay? This is fun stuff. Let's count together. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 learning paths inside of what they call the Accelerated Investor Training Program. That's you wanting to become an investor. Plus the essentials for the folks that should just take the essentials because they're human in America, right? I believe everybody should get the essentials. You should have learned this stuff in high school. They just kept it from you because they wanted you to be a human resource, right? This gets you out of being a human resource to the people and the entities that wanted you to be. Then if you want to take on real estate investing, you get into the other stuff where you actually control properties, okay, in some capacity. Okay, so 10 learning paths. Here's how you get started. The essentials courses are $1,997. Now you're not making any decisions here today. We're just giving you the information so you can create some questions and come back to our follow. So don't get freaked out. The essentials courses are $1,997. You can write that off 100%. In fact, you're going to learn how to do that in class. So don't worry about it. By law, you're already getting this money back. Congratulations. You get complimentary lifetime access, which means they'll never shut these classes off as long as Renatus is around. And they've never shut mine off. You get weekly group coaching on this thing. If you ever have any questions, you can always come to them on a weekly basis and get those questions answered for life. And you can download the audios. You can watch it on demand. You can watch it while the classes are going on. There's lots of ways to get the delivery of the education, but $1,997. You get ready for this. Remember that pie chart, the 33, 33, 33 to the 10, 10, 80? That's this right here. Plus getting into real estate initially. If you want to become a real estate investor, then you're going to take on the Accelerated Investor Training. That's the AITs. You can either take 2 paths for $5,997. You can choose any 2. You can change. You can get fix and flip and buy and hold. You can get wholesaling and the paper track. You can get commercial and foreclosures. Right? You can get business management and wealth acceleration. Any 2 that you want. Okay. What I decided to do was get this program. My wife and I, we had a discussion, even though we were broke and unemployed and struggling. We're like, we should probably get it all because there's lifetime access to every single 10 of those, those learning paths. In fact, when we started, there were not 10 learning paths. Let me tell you how valuable this is. When we started, there was less. There was like 6. Now there's 10, and they never charge us for adding programs to our curriculum. Okay, they didn't charge us for that. That's what I love about Renatus. They're not looking to get paid. That's not they're looking to make a difference. Does that make sense? And I really felt it. Now, do they have to get paid? Yeah. There's still campus to run. There's still instructors to pay. There's still customer service. There's still all that stuff. It's still a company, right? But they aren't looking to gouge anybody. That's what I loved about it. Okay, so my wife and I, we decided to do the Essentials and the Extreme Plus, which gave us an Extreme Plus combo, which was $19,994. That's what I invested. When you get the Extreme, you also get a one-on-one coach that's going to help you out, included, so you don't have to worry about that, and you get them for life, right? So we got every single class that we ever got, we get it for life. Any additional classes are going to add to it, we also get as well. No extra charge. Isn't that fantastic? It does include a tuition partner or an education partner, and that education partner is your partner for life. In fact, there's a primary partner and like a stowaway. Right? The stowaway does get their own login, but the primary person gets complete control. They're the ones that actually get named with the coaches and stuff like that. This person does not. So make sure that you know the person, you guys love each other, and you're going down the road together like my wife and I. Okay. Live help. Let's talk about that. Renatus has live. So there's a campus in Utah. My wife and I actually we didn't drive. We flew to see live classes every single year in our first year. We never missed a session, so we were in front of the instructors. You can take it like that, or you can take it on, stream it while it's going on, or you can watch it on demand. Kind of like Will and Grace. I like the show Will and Grace. I can go to the studio audience in LA and watch Will and Grace be recorded, or I can watch it on the TV while it's going on with commercials, or I can watch it on demand at 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's how you can interact on the delivery of Renatus between you and them. Isn't that great? It's your choice. In fact, if you sign your contracts tonight as students, you could actually take classes tomorrow morning after they approved. All right, there is also a one-on-one coach that you get for 6 sessions with the Extreme tuition. So when we got everything, they said, hey, you get a coach. Congratulations, let them know when you need them. So you get to designate, all right, I'm ready to get some coaching, and then you interact with a one-on-one coach who's going to help you do what you need to do to be successful in what you want to be successful in. You get group coaching. Now, group coaching comes with anything. Essentials are better. Every Tuesday evening, the great thing about it is there's no attendance being taken, so if you got to get a question answered, just hop on. The other cool thing is you can listen to questions being asked all over the country even without having a question. So it becomes a fluid learning event that you get for life with Renatus, as long as Renatus is around. Then there's live customer service. You don't got to worry about robots. Let's talk about what we are doing for you. This building and groups around the country are building live situations so that we can actually have monthly workshops. In fact, it doesn't matter if you're on this camera or in the seat. You can participate in the workshops that we have every single month here. We have 2 a month. One is for the independent marketing affiliate thing, and one is for the real estate thing, right? So you can participate in these workshops every single month. Now, here's what we do. The workshops that we have in this building cost $50 to attend. And now they're not Renatus. Keep in mind, this is not Renatus's building. This is my building and my wife and one of my partners, okay? It's not Renatus' building. So when we charge the $50, it takes care of the rent inside of a non-for-profit that we run this building through, 501(c), just like a church. Study groups. Oh, you're gonna do study groups, man. And this is included. So you can participate in central study groups, fix and flip study groups, buy and hold study groups. And really what it is, it's a mastermind. Everybody are taking classes and they're picking something up different. They're coming together going, oh, you picked that up? Oh, you plan on doing that? And then sometimes they go out and look at properties together, or they go to an accountant, sit down and say, hey, we need an accountant together. So working with people is motivating, right? You're actually moving with colleagues into better situations in your life. It's fun. And then finally, daily calls and webinars. Every single morning we have a call that you can hop on Monday through Thursday that we've been doing since 2008. My partner, Bob, he does a noon call every single day. So you'll have access to us. You'll be able to ask questions Monday through Thursday live on situations in case you have those questions. And then finally, property tours. We have so many people doing real estate that we actually have students featuring their deals in what we call property tours, where people come, they see the deal, they can see the numbers on the deal, they can meet the resources like the contractors and the lenders and the brokers that they used. So, working with people and seeing what they're doing inspires you to do. Make sense? But it also gets you a chance to share the resources that we're doing it with. It's awesome. All right, we've been expanding now for the last, I would say 7 years. We've had webinars going on. However, I've been traveling for the last 2 years to these different markets. Right now, as we speak, I'm doing this. I'm doing Minnesota every Tuesday night. I'm doing Washington, D.C. every Wednesday night, and then I trip to Philadelphia to do that every Thursday night. But what we have done here is through cameras that we're actually doing webinars on, people from other cities have participated out of their house. Then pretty soon we had enough going on in DC where we actually got an office. Isn't that great? And we would love to do that in your city if you're interested. If you don't currently have something going on, we can help you actually get rich putting it together. So maybe that's something you've always thought about. So just to give you an idea, we've opened up lots of situations around the idea that you've been listening to here for the last few minutes. Okay, complimentary lifetime access. If you are getting a essentials, or if you're getting the extreme tuition, or you're getting both, you will have complimentary lifetime access. That is lifetime access for as long as Renatus is around, right? So as long as the website's open and classes are being given, you get lifetime access. It will never shut off. That's what that is. There is financing available, and let me tell you something. I'm going to tell you this. It's going to be hard to believe, but anybody that's watching this is already pre-approved for financing. Congratulations. Doesn't matter what your credit score is. Doesn't matter what your financial situations. You're already pre-approved. That was good for me to hear because my wife and I were in dire straits when we saw this thing. Keep in mind, we came down here broke and unemployed. We walked out never needing a job again because they started paying us the $1,000 to $10,000. And we started doing real estate in our 3rd month. Maybe that's you. Okay. Last thing I want to talk about, new and controlled income. Let me just detail this. Remember, I told you you can actually invite people to webinars like this, or invite people to buildings that we have, and earn $1,000 to $10,000, right? That can start next week for you. Let's talk about that. Instead of actually paying TV and radio and newspapers, what Renatus decided to do was pay you. And you don't even have to be a student to take advantage of this. You could actually invite people to this situation without being a student. They're willing to pay you anyway. Isn't that great? So you don't have to pay Renatus, but they'll pay you. That was pretty crazy. Okay, so what are they willing to pay? Now you see all the programs like I showed you earlier. Let me show you. They're willing to pay you $125 to $500 while you're going through training. You'll be paid $125 to $500 for inviting people to this situation while you're going to training. After you're done with your training, you get $1,000, $3,000, $9,000, or $10,000. Okay? So every time I invite somebody to the situation, I get paid $1,000 to $10,000 if they tell me, I want to be a student like you, Scott. I'm like, fantastic, let's do it. You already saw my numbers earlier, so if you want to take those, you want to make those kind of numbers, then you do what other people are doing. The difference in the two. So you see on the left-hand side of your screen, you're going to see the first year earnings on an average, and in the top earners. And on the left-hand side of that screen, you're going to see what people make after their first year, right? I will tell you this, my wife and I, who you will be interacting personally with after this webinar, personally, we are in the top 1% of the company when it comes to that earnings, and you'll have our cell phone number. Isn't that fantastic? So think about that. We really want to help you. Start making money next week so we can actually get you out of your jobs and into real estate, and your futures will be fantastic. Who we became. My wife and I were this close to being divorced because of our financial situations way back when. She found this meeting, I told her it was crap. I came down, I had to prove, and she proved that she was right. All right, fine, you're right, let's do this. But I think this, and I'm gonna say this without shame. I believe the reason that we're still together today wasn't because it wasn't stressful, but because we had a 2-year-old, right? So we felt more duty to the 2-year-old than we did to each other. I can tell you this today, I'm a lot sexier today with the bank accounts we have, so we're good. Okay, let's introduce you to an 8-year-old real estate investor. So we do have a company called Mason Matthew LLC. That company is buying properties with the intention that it's our kids. Does that make sense? So we're setting our kids up. Now think about this. Would you rather build a nest egg for yourself and then eat it later on, or build a chicken farm? You can build one egg, or you can actually have a bunch of chickens like rental properties laying eggs every single month. That means you'll be able to pass that empire on to the kids. Does that make sense? Which brings me to my last slide. I do have a 13-year-old. At one point, Maddie, this is Matt, he was 6, and we went to Great America, Six Flags Great America for the first time, okay? We went on a Sunday. This is fantastic. This is very important for you to hear. So we went on Sunday to Great America, and he loved it. It was crowded. We got in long lines for the rides, but he still loved it. Tuesday morning, we wake up, we're eating Cheerios, watching the Disney Channel, and he looks at me, he goes, "Daddy, what are we doing today?" I'm like, "I don't know, what do you want to do?" He goes, "Can we go back to the Great America place?" And I'm like, "Sure." Now, the car, I have an Italian supercar. You can imagine whatever you want about that is, it's an Italian supercar. So we hopped in the Italian supercar, and I put verbiage on the side of the Italian supercar to attract people that are interested in becoming real estate investing. So I actually ride around in a rolling billboard. It's black, it's got red lettering, and it attracts attention. Every time somebody sees that vehicle and contacts me, I make $1,000 to $10,000 when they start working with me. Does this make sense? So I'm driving up the highway in the Italian supercar, that's the rolling billboard, and I'm making $1,000 to $10,000. I park the car in the parking lot to make $1,000 to $10,000, and I go into the park with my little boy. And he notices something about Tuesday that is much different than Sunday. What do you think it is? Right. There's nobody there. Like, we're getting off of rides and right on rides, and off of rides and right on rides. And he looks at me, and he's like, "Daddy, where's everybody at? There was a lot more crowded the other day when we were here." And my blue collar answer, because I'm blue collar, I'm like, "Hey, they're at work. Let's get on the ride, kid." And he stops. He plants his feet in the asphalt because he's 6. He's now using his brain and not his feet at that point. So I'm walking. I'm like, "Come on, bud." He's like, "Dad." I'm like, "Come on, dude. Dad." He would not move. I had to go collect him. I'm like, "What?" "There is a ride waiting for us." And he looks at me and says, "How come you and Mommy don't go to work?" And the minute he said it, it took me back to when I was 6 years old. And I watched 2 people, my parents, get up grumpy, go to work, come home angry because of work, and fight and struggle. It reminded me that my parents struggled. And what I realized was my son was growing up in a completely different family tree than I did, right? And I sat and I'm like, "Oh, what a fantastic question, Maddie. Your mom and I are different." And I always include my son. I'm like, "You, me, today," I mean, we had jobs once, they were terrible and we lost them. But today, you, me, Mommy, and Mason, we are real estate investors. So you know how we live in a house? Well, we have other houses that other people live in, and then they go to work and they make money and they bring some money back to us to pay for the rent. So right now they're at work so we can ride roller coasters with you. We have contractors. These are like Bob the Builder types who are fixing things and drilling things. They're fixing properties working for us so I can ride roller coasters with you. We have agents who are finding people. They're working so I can ride roller coasters with you. I said, "But you know Daddy's car, the Italian supercar outside in the parking lot?" "Yes, Daddy." "Do you know why Daddy has words on the side of the car?" "No, Daddy." Well, every time somebody sees that car in the parking lot and they contact us and we help them, You, me, mommy, Macy, we make $1,000 to $10,000 by just helping them. So right now, the car's in the parking lot working for us so that I can ride roller coasters with you. And my son, at 6 years old, this is the best part, because you don't even realize they're learning, right? At 6 years old, he goes, Daddy, how come everybody doesn't do that? They could be at Great America with us right now. So in his world, he's thinking, how come all the cars don't have signs on them if that's how easy it is to make money, right? So he is now an entrepreneur at 6 years old. In his brain, he's like, well, that's what I would do to make money if that's what you're doing, Daddy. Does that make sense? So my suggestion for you guys is think hard. Don't think hard. Get your questions answered. That's what you should do. That's part of the process. You come to your follow-up, get your questions answered, be in the Velocity Banking this week with us, learn how to pay those mortgages off road. That's free, right? But know more by next week about this and possibly that than you do tonight. So you can start making some intelligent decisions about your future. Thanks for joining us. I look forward to helping you personally. If that's not in the cards, I still wish you luck. Thanks, guys. Hey everybody, welcome back to your follow-up. This is actually it should happen after the introduction. You saw the trainings that we went through. You saw some of the concepts that we all have learned as students. And now we're going to help you get through your questions, because you might have some questions in your brain. We've been doing this for 10 years now. So getting these questions answered for folks that have them is something that we've gotten good at. So I'm going to roll over here to I'm going to weatherman this thing over here. So what we're looking at is the Renatus menu, right? You've probably seen it on your screen. So the Essentials courses are $1,997. There's 10 8-hour classes. You get weekly group coaching. You're going to have a chance to get that lifetime complimentary access. We'll talk about how that works in a second here. So let me just say this. This is going to be 12 months. And then at the end of the 12 months, they're going to say, hey, do you want to keep it on? And you'll have a choice, yes or no. You can keep it on, either keep it on or not. It is $1,997. The advanced package is you get the Essentials plus 2 vocational tracks. You can pick any 2 tracks that you want. Okay, any 2 tracks. So you can pick the fix and flip track and notes track. You can pick the short sale track and the commercial track. Any 2 that you want. That'll only stay on for 12 months. You can repeat it as many times as you want inside that 12 months, so you can actually finish the class and start it all over again if you want, right? Okay, and that weekly group coaching is going to carry over from the Essentials. This will shut off in 12 months. This will stay on. Now, if for some reason down the road you're like, you know what, I want the bigger package, or if you want it like I did, I was into this service right here, this package, as soon as I got in. So this was the one that my wife and I chose. That is everything. It's the all-access pass to the amusement park called Renatus. There's not a ride you can't get on. There's not a class you can't get involved in. There's not a coaching program that you can't be a part of. Okay, so you'll get the Essentials, all 6 vocational tracks. You're going to get that bonus track that only comes with the Extreme. I think it's and that they keep adding classes to it. So when I started with the Extreme, they only had 8 classes in the bonus track. Today, I think it's up to 14 classes. Group coaching, so that's a carryover from here. Every Tuesday evening is group coaching. We're going to cover that as well. You get the one-on-one coaching now. That's going to kick in. You're going to get 6 sessions with a coach from Renatus to help you get things started. And that's going to come with complimentary lifetime access as long as you're a good person and the webinar's up for as long as you live. Okay, so $19,994 for that. Now, keep in mind, if we look at this right now, and I figured this out, this is probably about $40 to $42 an hour right here. And then because it's going to be able to stay on for you, keep in mind, and they redo the classes. As the instructors come and say, hey, I need to redo my class, they're going to come in studio, redo the class with the students in front of them. They're not going to ask you for another dime for that. You're just going to see it again. So technically, it's not like sitting in one 3-day boot camp at a guru for an amount of money and that's it. You actually get classes that are going to be redone, that are going to match up with strategies, economies, and you for life. Isn't that great? Complimentary lifetime access. So this is that. Now, Here's the questions that I get when I'm showing this off. I know this. So some people are like, well, can I start with this and then move up? Absolutely. These are two different services. So this service is the essentials, and then the AIT is a completely different service. Okay, so you're not really upgrading into an advanced, you're just tacking on the other service. However, if you decide to get the advanced, you will be considered an upgrade if you want to go to this, the extreme. Now that will be simple. It's just simply the difference in price, which is $12,000, plus a $750 fee to make sure that they can get all the programming done for you here at head office. So that's what you can expect. So I've had plenty of people who have done this. Then they're like, hey man, I'm doing pretty good here. I want to get this. Oh yeah, I definitely want to make sure that I have lifetime access. Now I will tell you this will shut off in 12 months, but it's going to be on hold for you. When you come back and say, hey, Renatus, I know that I finished my 2 tracks up 12 months ago. Can I come back in and just pay you the difference? The answer is yes, right? Isn't that generous? So there's no gimmickry going on here with Renatus. You can just come on in, and because you're still part of the family. Okay, remember, it is for 2 people. Okay, so you can actually designate that tuition partner. Now, here's what you can actually designate that tuition partner later on. You don't have to do that immediately. You can figure out which one of your friends or family members deserve it, right? You and some friend or family member can actually go in together on it, split it up in some type of payment. So that's completely up to you. You're the principal tuition holder. Okay, I do want to go back to this screen here. I want to cover the live help, and then I'm actually going to dig into the classes in my back office with Renatus here. Okay, so here, with all the programs that you have, you're going to get the group coaching. Okay, every Tuesday evening, it is Eastern time, it's 10 p.m., Central time is 9, Mountain time is 8, and 7 p.m. on the West Coast on Tuesdays. The great thing about the group coaching is there's no attendance being taken. However, you can log on and hear other people asking questions that you didn't think of, right? So it's like, I would just come on and listen. Sometimes a guy in text is like, hey, what about this? I'm like, oh, what a great question, what a great answer. So that actually becomes a very fluid thing on a weekly basis. Again, there's no attendance being taken. You can just jump on anytime you want, okay? Then you're going to have a one-on-one coach. Now, this is going to be 6 sessions. What we suggest is you take classes like a fix and flip, functional, vocational track like fix and flip. Then, hey, I want to do a fix and flip. Or you do buy and hold. And, hey, I want to do buy and hold. Hey, you take notes, tax liens, or deeds. And then you're like, hey, I want to do some notes. So whatever you pick, you take those classes. Then you engage with your coach. You get 6 sessions to make sure that you're on the right track all the way to getting that thing finished. Now, the Renatus live classes. I'm actually inside the studio right now training. Every 6 to 9 weeks, depending on what needs to be redone, the instructors fly in, students from all over the country fly in. My wife and I, our first 2 years, we actually came in the first 2 years, never missed a session. The great thing about it was we were interacting with people in the crowd. We went to lunch with them. We got a chance to interact with the instructors. It was fantastic as far as experience. And you're going to be responsible for your flights in. You're going to be responsible for your hotels. But you don't have to pay for this either. Just make sure that you have the seat's been registered. And I will tell you this. If for some reason you register yourself for a seat and you don't show up, you're going to have a hard time explaining that to Renatus. They will consider you not very good at keeping your word. So they may not let you do this again if you register and then you don't show up. So make sure that you're just staying in communication with Renatus to keep that available for you. All right. Now, this is something that Renatus, this is what your enrollment into the services. So the cost of services comes with this. Okay? What doesn't come with your cost of service is what the local teams are doing. I really have to stress this because if you're making a decision on Renatus based on study groups that a local team may or may not be doing for you, then don't make that decision to do Renatus, right? So this is stuff that's going on outside of Renatus that is being collaborating on with students around the country. So in Chicago, I'll just give you an example. In Chicago and here in Utah, I know that they're doing 2 workshops a month. One of those workshops actually is a marketing workshop. So they teach us all the referring and the opportunity where you can refer people in and earn money from the referrals on the IMA thing. So we do a workshop on that once a month. And we also have a real estate workshop once a month, or a real estate intensive. The workshops feature students getting up and showing off their deals and talking about how they got it done, fielding questions. The intensives are actually a chance to see an instructor in front of one of these rooms locally, or even on a webinar through one of these things. We do broadcast this stuff out of some of the locations that the community is doing. That's a separate thing. So Renatus is not broadcasting it. These people might. All right, the study groups. Let me talk about the study groups. So when the study groups were developed, they were actually developed out of Chicago. This was the idea. Everybody that got their essentials would take 4 hours of a class, at the same 4 hours. So they're all coming to the study group to talk about what they learned, what they started doing. And we started getting really concise on this. So they have a sheet where they actually start writing down their plan based on the class, what kind of resources and human resources and or entity resources they're going to need to get it done. So everybody was doing that together and talking about it. And then they would talk about what they're doing with the plan that they created last week. So technically, they're functionally progressing through the education together with colleagues. Not something that Renatus put together. It was something that was organically grown from the markets across the country. You may be in a situation to participate in that. I do know that in Chicago, you can actually, we do allow people to actually come into on the network, on the internet. Okay. Another thing that you might have going on for your group, a lot of team leaders around the country are helping their folks on the referring side. I happen to be one of those individuals where we have webinars on a daily basis. In fact, anybody can get on one of my webinars that starts with us on the marketing side or better. So if for some reason you want to be an IMA, you want to refer people, we really talk about a lot of things here on this webinar to help you get that done more efficiently on a weekly basis. So we're always there. There's 3 different chat lines on that webinar every single morning. There's resources that we have, links and resources that are available. Our goal was, if you had a question Monday night about that, we'd be there Tuesday morning for you. Does that make sense? We haven't let anybody down yet. In fact, we have a mantra here in the family, in the community. You're going to give up on you before we give up on you. So hopefully you appreciate that. Okay, so this is it. So very important to understand that that is what Renatus is providing for the cost, right? This has nothing to do with Renatus. This is organically grown communities around the country banding together to get stuff done. Right now, that presents either an opportunity for you. If there's nothing going on in your market right now, then let's put one together. Makes sense? So we can actually get this going on. We've helped a lot of people do this online first, and then create something. It's one of our intentions, very intentional for us around the country, helping other people grow. Okay. All right. Frequently asked questions around this. Is there any cost to this stuff? Actually, there is a cost to this stuff in some markets. There's a business builder fee that you can participate in, or some markets just charge you because they have to take care of that building. I'll give you my example. So this building in Chicago costs us $10,000 to $12,000 a month. Each seat in that room is $50 during the workshops. That goes into a non-for-profit to keep that community center working. So there you go. If we don't, for some reason, reach the number that we need to keep the building alive, then we as leaders in that market actually cover the rest of the cost. Does this make sense? This is one of the reasons that we've been so successful through the years, no matter what the market's doing. Okay, so now that's the menu. Let's actually dig in to the education. Ready? So I'm on this beautiful technology they have here in the studio here, and what you're seeing on the screen behind me is this is my virtual campus, my back office to Renatus. Let me tell you something. As soon as your contracts are signed and approved, it could be 1 or 2 days from the time you get in, you're going to have as much access as I do. Isn't that great? So a couple things to note on the screen here. You're going to see Essentials courses on the top there. So I'm actually logged in. All I did was I hit the education button just like that. And you see Essentials AIT. You're going to have that kind of interactive interface right there. Now, you'll notice it says your education is currently enabled till 1/30/2018. You don't know this, but right now it's the 29th of January. And supposedly my stuff's shutting off on January 30th. Not so. I'm under contract to be a good person inside of Renatus right now because I'm on my complimentary lifetime access. So what that says is, hey, for some reason, if Scott Rowe doesn't deserve to have his education on anymore, then they're able to shut it off tomorrow. Does that make sense? So it's your lifetime access, your complimentary lifetime access is going to go daily based on you being worthy. Got it? Okay. All right, so let's take a look at this. So here I am. I'm on the education right now. All I have to do is click on a class. Watch this. It's gonna pop up. It's gonna start. All right, so here's my classes. I'm at home. I'm like, all right, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm gonna watch some classes because I worked the midday shift. And you'll notice I can actually go to anything. I can scroll to a segment here. It's really cool. It's like it's on demand, just like cable, right? So let's say I'm on the section where I'm like, hey, I want to pay my kids. If you're interested in having your kids pay themselves so that you can write off trumpet lessons and hot lunches and prom dresses. So you just click it. I'm clicking it. It's going to start up there. I can just hit it. There's Mark Kohler in the studio talking about taxes and legal strategies to make sure that you're paying as little taxes as possible legally. If for some reason you fall asleep, you can pause it and then roll back. I can actually go backwards. I can actually affect the speed. If for some reason you're real good at watching stuff faster, you can speed it up and watch it quicker or slow it down. Isn't that great? And that's it. So now I'm taking classes. You're going to notice the headphones in the top left-hand corner. You can download the MP3s. You can watch this. So the cool thing about this is I can actually access this on my phone and watch it at the airport. So let's say I'm waiting for a plane. I'm like, oh, you know what? I'm going to watch some Mark Kohler. Boom. I can be watching classes. My headset's on from the phone. If for some reason you're sleeping in a tent that night and you don't have Wi-Fi access or mobile access, it's like remote, then all you have to do before you leave is just hit the headphones on the screen. You can download the MP3s into your computer and or mobile device and listen to the MP3s later on. There are tests to be taken on each of these classes, a pre-test and a post-test. You can download the workbooks. You'll see the little page thing on the top left hand. You can download the workbooks and play along with your workbooks, either electronically and or a paper form. It's up to you. Isn't that great? So we'll go back to the essentials. I'll click on essentials again. You'll notice it'll come right back up. This is how fast it is. So you don't have to actually attend a class. You don't have to be in a session. Now, I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why I thought this was genius. I thought the way that they were delivering the education was genius because if you were to go to like some guru place, right? You know those guys that fly in and they sell you stuff in 3 days, and then you go to a 3-day fulfillment. Sometimes you get to go to Vegas or Florida and they promote that. Well, you go there, you're not allowed to record anything, and if you have to go to the bathroom, you have to hold it, right? You can't pause it. In this way, you don't have to take any time off of work. You can simply hit it at 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, take as much as you can take, right? Now, I will tell you this. Let me talk about my wife and I's experience. In our experience, we did not have jobs. So here was our schedule. I want to lay this out because I always lay it out in the follow-ups. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we actually worked on referring people as real work. Like that was a gig that got us paid and helped feed our family. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we knew that Renatus was willing to pay us $1,000 to $10,000 per referral. That way, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we could just focus on the real estate. So that plan, I was able to actually take a class on Thursday all day and be done with it. I was able to take a class on Friday all day and be done with it. I was able to take a class on Saturday and be done with it. I finished the essentials in 3 weeks doing that. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday was always making money. Renatus was paying us to help them expand by referring people. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday was always geared towards taking classes. It was an awesome experience because of that committed intention, because of that organization, that calendar we kept. My wife and I have never needed a job again simply because Renatus was willing to pay us. And then we could take classes and turn it into real estate. Got it? Okay, so that's the essentials. Frequently asked questions. Can I just watch these anytime? How often are they redone? Technically, that's up to Renatus and the instructors interacting together to figure out if the content needs to be changed. However, I can tell you that these classes here in the essentials are typically redone every single year since I've been involved. So that's a question I get asked a lot. All right. Then once you're done with your essentials, you break into your accelerated investor training, which is your AITs. You'll see AIT right here. You'll click on that. And we'll bring up the different vocational tracks. Okay, so let's count the vocational tracks together. You got lease options, which is 1, fix and flip, which is 2, short sales, which is 3, multifamily, which is 4, notes, tax liens, and deeds, which is 5, commercial, which is 6, and then you have the bonus, the extreme bonus track, which only comes if you're doing the extreme tuition. Okay, let's go back here for a second. The same thing is, now take a look at this. Lease option is designed to talk about buy and hold real estate. So you have buy and hold 1, buy and hold 2, managing property managers. When you're done being a landlord, you want to manage property managers. Lease with an option to buy. Subject to, if you want to actually learn how to do real estate without using money or credit, still control the property to make cash flow on it. So this is the lease option classes. Okay, you go into fix and flip. Now, remember the 4 levels of real estate investing? Wholesaling, wholesaling, fix and flip, buy and hold, and money lending. I'll tell you what I suggest people do. I suggest they do the fix and flip next because you have 2 levels of real estate investing right there. You have wholesaling right in the middle of the screen, plus you have buy and fix and flip 1, fix and flip 2. Now, let's take a look. The fix and flip classes are the 30,000-foot view of fix and flipping. The rehabbing classes is very detailed work to do inside the deal. I can tell you this. The rehabbing classes were just added this year, and they didn't charge me for it. When I say this year, I mean 2017. They didn't charge me a dime for it because that lifetime member access thing, they didn't send me a bill. They didn't hold it off. Every other program out there, well, I guess everything is an absolute. Most of the programs out there actually do not do that. What they do is they actually create content every single year and then offer it again. Hey, valued customer, we redid everything. Everything's brand new because it's a brand new year. Here's your discounted rate. What I loved about Renatus was that they weren't doing that. They said, hey, it's a service. We're going to give you lifetime access to it because it's what should be done. Cool? All right. Okay, so that's fix and flip. Then you got your short sale if you want to help people out of foreclosure, multifamilies if you want to buy bigger stuff and have everybody live together and collect rents from one place, one address. Notes, tax liens, and deeds if you want to just deal with paper, the commercial real estate, and then the extreme. Okay. All right. Frequently asked questions on this. What about documentation? Yep, let's talk about that for a second. If you get the AITs, you also get all the real estate forms. Now, as these instructors are talking in their class, they're going to talk about forms. They're going to bring up forms. All those forms are going into a vault for you. Isn't that great? So here's your data gathering stuff that's talked about in class and then given to you so that you can use it after class. So, and I'll tell you something, this is probably the most important forms for you because it's the one pre-signature, right? So know what you're doing in real estate and understand what you're getting involved with based on the pre-stuff so that when you're signing your name on a contract, then it's good to go, right? So that's all those forms. Now, let's talk about the contracts. If those are being talked about in the class, you're getting it. Isn't that great? Now, what I suggest is, and I'm sure that Renatus will back me up in this, is that these are generalizations. These instructors are coming from different states. Your real estate laws vary state to state. So you want to identify a real estate attorney in your area. Take these contracts to them. Maybe they can help you figure out how to, maybe they'll give you an alternative for your state. Maybe in my case, you can actually, I was actually taking the class. I was rewriting some clauses sometimes in the contract. And all I had to do was get with an attorney in Illinois and say, hey, can you defend those clauses? And they would look at it and say, well, I would change this, or if they're signing, I can definitely defend it. So make sure that you're doing that in your local areas. Sample letters, some, for foreclosures or absentee owners or wholesaling, if the instructors are talking about sending out a sample letter, again, you're getting it inside the vault here. So remember, the essentials are $1,997. I can tell you this. After you leave this webinar, I say this to all the rooms that I'm in doing live follow-ups, I would not leave the building without having these classes you see on the screen right here. Not because you aren't sure you want to be a real estate investor, but because you're sure you don't want to pay the kind of taxes you're used to paying. So if you take the tax and legal strategies classes, they're going to be able to teach you how to set up entities, how to actually control the money we talked about before instead of earn it. how to actually have your kids pay for their stuff. You can pay your kids. That'll be a tax write-off from the money you paid them as employees from your family management company. They can pay for their own trumpet lessons. They can pay for their own prom. They can pay for their own gifts. They can pay for their own hot lunches, pay for their own babysitters, pay for their own daycare. And because you did it the right way, it becomes a write-off in the company because you paid the kids to pay for their own stuff. Isn't that great? Classes you should definitely take. Not only for you, but you'll be able to pass on this knowledge and structure to your kids, to the kitchen table, even help your friends and family out. Okay, Velocity Banking. That class is right here. So we talked about changing things within 2 weeks, changing your tax structures within 2 weeks, changing Velocity Bank within 2 weeks. These classes are only 8 hours long, so we're talking about 24 hours of education. Takes that pie chart from 33, 33, 33 to 10, 10, 80, okay, where you're actually getting to keep 80% of your life, and you're only giving away 10 and 10 to the banks and the government. Okay, so I stress you, look, you know, I can say this, my wife and I, our first year working with the founder of this education, we made $421,000, and because of that guy who taught those tax and legal strategies classes, we saved $160,000 in taxes just by following the class. Does it make sense? And then getting legal help, right? Okay. So I've covered the frequently asked questions on the menu and the education. Some other frequently asked questions. All right, do I get a license when I finish these classes? No, I don't have. The only license I have is a driver's license. You don't need a license to own property. You don't need a license to sell your own properties. You need to have a license to represent other people through the legal process of a deal, right? So real estate investors don't need to have a license. If you want to go get one for your own reasons, go, fantastic, go do it. But there's plenty of professionals out there that are willing to help you with the license because you're going to need them. All right, frequently asked questions. Do I get a certificate or something? Nope, you don't. Is this accredited? It is not accredited. This is simply education that you can use to go and do deals and grab checks, right? So you're going to create a new career for yourself, a new possibility and wealth for yourself. No reason to get jobs after taking these classes. The goal is to get you far away from jobs as possible. All right. Okay, that's the classes. I'm going to talk about funding this education now. I think it's a fantastic conversation. I'm going to cover 4 ways of funding this education that we cover, the last, 10 years. So here's the first way. Ready for this? Way number 1, cash or credit. I've learned something from wealthy people that I didn't really think about before because I thought about every time I took $1 out of my wallet, it was to spend on something, right? If you have it, use it. Don't spend it. And I had a gentleman, I'm going to tell you a story. So I'm doing this follow-up in a room in Chicago once, and I had a gentleman say, so are you suggesting I should just drain my savings account at $20,000 and hand it over to you? Which is typical of the way people think about their money. If I give $20,000 to you, I'll never see it again, right? This is the spending mentality. So I said, you know what, sir, I'm not a financial planner, but let's take a look at the business relationship that you have with your bank in that savings account. And he was correct. He was, I don't have a business, I have a savings account. I'm like, that's the problem of America. We're not taught business concepts. So every time you pull out a dollar out of your wallet or I want you to look at it as a business. How am I going to get that money back? Like, am I actually using this dollar? Is it going to duplicate itself, right? So what's your savings account getting you right now? He says 2%. Okay, no problem. So you have $20,000 in your savings account at 2%. Before taxes, how much are you profiting, or how much interest are you making, which I'm going to call it profit? Well, $400. Exactly. So $20,000 at 2% is $400 at the end of the year before taxes. Does that sound like a very fair relationship? Well, no. Right. So my suggestion is you take the savings account, right, and you take the $20,000 and you create a new business relationship with Renatus, okay? And you have 3 ways to get your money back on that withdrawal. One is real estate. Obviously, the services that you're going to get for Renatus is all about real estate. 2 is the tax savings you're going to have. 3 is going to be the velocity banking that you're going to be doing. So all these 3 classes, so between the real estate you could do, the tax savings you're going to have, and the velocity banking that's going to save you tons of interest, there's a lot more ways to get your money back than just profiting on a deal. Okay? So you're going to get, and listen, there's a 4th way too. You might get your money back by referring individuals. My wife and I actually made enough money on referrals in our first 3 months to cover the costs of the education. Now, it doesn't happen like that for everybody. We were due diligent. We were very diligent about it. We actually dedicated 3 days a week, 8 hours a day, 3 days a week to do that, right? But we didn't have anything better to do. So we were able to get our money back that way. We were able to get our money back in taxes. We were able to get our money back in real estate, and the understanding on why and how the interest going to the bank isn't going to be the interest going to the bank that they told you were going to pay. So there you go. So don't be afraid. And one other thing, I had another person say, so they had a lot of fear around the money they were investing. And so I'm like, what's your biggest fear? They're like, well, I don't get my money back. Okay, no problem. So if you invest the $20,000 in Renatus today, and let's say you don't have your $20,000 back next week. So in 7 days, you didn't get your money back. Did you lose your money with Renatus? And they said the perfect answer, like, well, no. I'm like, why? And they said, well, because I have lifetime access. I'm like, exactly, right? So the second week, you don't have your money back. Did you lose your money? No. Same reason. Okay, for some god-awful reason, you end up in a coma for a whole year, and then all of a sudden you wake up, you're like, hey, I got to go back to Renatus. Will it be over? No, because you have lifetime access. So don't worry. As fast as you can get it back or as slow as you need is going to be, the relationship. All right. 2. This is very interesting. Again, I'm going to preface this by saying I am not a financial planner. I just know that this is possible because I took classes. All right, you could actually go down and borrow the money from your own 401k. You're like, what? Yeah. You can go down, whoever's administrating your 401k, say, hey, listen, I would like to take a loan to myself. This is traditionally how it works, but again, you'll have a conversation with your administrator and they'll tell you the exact numbers behind this, the details. So in my world, most people can go down and borrow half of their 401k maxed out at $50,000. You can't take more than $50,000. You can only take half. So if you have $40,000 in your 401k, you can lend yourself half, $20,000, right? If you have $1 million in your 401k, capped out at 50 grand, max. Now, how does this work? And once again, ask a financial planner. Here's how I understand it. It's 1% above the prime rate, which is the interest rate. So right now, I believe, based on this webinar and the timing, it's 4.25%. 5 years. So you have 5 years to pay yourself back. But here's the cool thing. You're paying yourself back. You are the bank. You're now banking yourself to actually get your own education, paying yourself back the interest on that loan. Something to think about or consider. Okay, option number 3 is life insurance. A few years ago, I had an insurance broker. Him and his dad had been in insurance for a long time, and he brought this to my attention. He's like, listen, did you know that you can actually borrow money, the cash value from your life insurance? I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't know that. So he suggested they can go to their insurance agent, anybody can go to an insurance agent and say, listen, I'd like to borrow the cash value that's accrued, borrow from the cash value that's accrued on my life insurance policy. Here's the cool thing about that. And again, I'm not here to give you financial advice, but I can tell you this. The only time it's going to matter if you don't pay it back is when you're dead. Your benefactors will get the principal less the interest and accrued interest. The principal plus accrued interest. Doesn't mean I'm not telling you to pay it back. I'm just telling you that you're buying yourself time, right? If you're not under pressure to pay it back, pay yourself completely, overfund your life insurance policy if you want. There's actually classes in Renatus to teach you to do that kind of stuff and how to do it the right way. But this is a possibility that some people have used across the country to fund this education. Just a thought. Okay, and then the 4th way to do this is very popular. One of the instructors, Eric Counts, who runs a company called the Credit Nerds, has put together a funding program for students to actually get education and even students to get lines of credit and stuff for real estate. So write this down. Get funded online.com. Getfundedonline.com. All one word. All right, so when you go to getfundedonline.com, you're going to do something called a funding assessment. They're going to have you go to a third-party monitoring site. It'll cost you $1 to set up that relationship. I think you should keep it. I kept it because it's like watching my credit score like a video game, right? So that credit monitoring site is the preferred monitoring site that Eric likes to use to help his clients get lines of credit, because the good credit companies, the credit restoration companies, after your credit is restored, they're going to ask you, now what do you want to do with that great credit you have? Some people say, I want to buy a boat. And then he'll be like, that's the smartest thing to do. Why don't we start a company, maybe do some real estate with that credit? So you're going to learn things about credit that are going to help you advance your career and your financial position. Eric will be a crusader for that for you if you'd like him to be in his company. So let's take a look. So your idea here is you're going to get a funding assessment done. This funding assessment won't be a charge at all from Credit Nerds at all. So they're going to give you a consult. They're going to take a look at your situation. And here's what they've been able to do for students all over the country. There are 3 types of people on the line with us watching this follow-up. Let me show you. You may be one of those people. You'll figure it out in a second here, okay? So there is credit-worthy people, okay? Now, typically, case-by-case scenario, okay? So I don't know what your case is, but I have been told if folks have a 640 credit score and above, plus cash flow, if you have cash flow, there's a good chance they're going to be able to help you with some of the relationships they have in the lending industry, okay? And here's how that works. They're going to do something, please pay attention, called trending. A lot of folks think that and you're probably right, if you have great credit, you might be able to go to a bank and say, hey, Mr. Banker, I would like to borrow or get a line of credit, or maybe call your credit cards you have right now and extend the lines. You can go to the bank and say, hey, I'd like to borrow $20,000 to get into this fantastic education that will stick with me for life. And they're going to pull up your credit score. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to get an inquiry on your credit, and all 3 credit scores are going to drop because of that inquiry. Now, let's say the bank that you're sitting at loves one of the credit companies, credit reporting companies, and it's not your best score. Well, they're going to tell you no. So here's what you just did. You just got an inquiry, and all 3 credit scores are going to drop, okay? Then you're going to walk next door to the next bank. They're going to check your credit. It's going to drop all 3 scores, and maybe that middle score is the one that's just under, they're going to tell you no too. Then you walk into that third bank, and you get an inquiry, and all credit scores drop, and all of a sudden, your good score, boom, just dropped under what they were looking for, and you're going to get a no. If you do that 6 times inside of 6, if you do that succinctly right in a row, you will not get touched for another 6 months. You're going to have to wait. You have to cycle that out, let it wash away, and then go back to the bank. So in order to avoid that, they created this getfundedonline.com so that they can actually introduce you to the relationships that they've been working with for quite some time. Okay, so here's how it's going to look. You're going to end up doing a funding assessment, and then they're going to come back to you, and they're going to give you all the relationships that they have that are favorable to you, right? They're also going to know which relationships you shouldn't be talking to, okay? Because they've helped a lot of folks get lines of credit, so here's trending. They're going to say, hey, Joe, listen, we're not going to go to these people because we already know they're going to tell you no. We're going to go to these people based on the trends that they're lending on. Okay? So, and then they're going to have a consult with you. This guy right here, he's willing to do 0% interest for 18 months. This person right here, this bank right here, this institution is willing to do 0 for 12 months. This one right here is going to be 9% immediately, right? So you can actually shop with these guys and say, okay, let's not talk to those people, let's talk to these people, and let's go. Okay? Now, let's say they end up getting you, and we've had a lot of folks overfunded, let's say they end up getting you $82,000 worth of approvals. All right, so they're going to come back and say, hey, we got $82,000 worth of approvals. You've agreed to take that. After you get all the lines of credit, there will be a charge there, 9.99% for the service that they actually just did for you. Okay, but you won't get charged that until you have success, and you get to determine that success by actually saying yes to whatever lines you want. Okay? If for some reason after that consult, you're like, nope, not going to go with anybody, there's no charge. Okay? Okay, now, the second type of person on the line with us today is, hang on a second, let me just do this right, is credit challenged. Okay, and I'm going to simply put it this way. If for some reason you know that your credit score is 640 or below, but you have some cash flow, this might be an option for you. There's a company out there that's working in relationship with Renatus right now that is willing to give you a line of credit to work just with Renatus. Those are $2,000 to $12,000 worth of lines of credit. This is a one-way street. So you're just going to pay that loan back to them and be done with it. This, however, is a two-way street. The first option is lines of credit that doesn't care what you're using it for. You could use it for real estate, Renatus, whatever. And once you pay them off, they're probably going to come back and say, hey, congratulations, we got you more lines of credit. Now, with the Velocity Banking class, with that plus the Velocity Banking class is going to be pure gold for you. Trust me. Take the Velocity Banking class. Come back, get these lines of credit working for you. You're going to be paying off debt and student loans, car loans, house loans. It's going to disappear on you. It's great. Okay, now there is one more person that's on the line watching this. And that person is Laughable. Now, don't feel bad. This was me when I came in, right? Even though I had a successful career, even though my wife and I could live 36 doors over Michigan Avenue at one time, even though we could have a South Beach place and afford that at one time, even though I had a European car at one point. Doesn't matter. Something happened. I lost a job, not because I lost a job, but because technology changed and they couldn't use it anymore. They were going more internet, not sales anymore, didn't need me anymore, right? So boom, I'm done, and now we're losing everything and the credit's crashing, right? Okay, have no fear. Even we have a chance, right? So watch this. There is a relationship with Renatus that is really built on billing. This relationship means that you are already pre-approved, 100% approved, and guaranteed to be accepted here, okay? Here's how that works. You put down 20% of the education that you choose, and the other 80% will happen inside of the billing cycles. So what does that look like? And there's an interest rate, because the company that's doing the billing has got to get paid too. So here's what it looks like. On the Essentials program, that would be $400 plus $25 fee to get that done, and $101 per month times 18 months. Congratulations, you have your Essentials. You don't even have to think about it. Just tell the person who invited you here, I want to do that, and you're in. Congratulations. Okay. On the Advanced package, you could put $1,600 down plus that $25. And on the 80% billing, it is approximately, it's in the range of 250%. No, not 250. That's wrong. $250 a month times 24 months. And then if for some reason you like the idea of the extreme and you want to have lifetime complimentary access to that stuff just like I have, well, that would be $4,000 down plus that 25. And approximately a $500 a month payment times 36 months, okay? Now, I will tell you this. There is a caveat with this billing cycle. If for some reason, after 90 days, you go into collection on this, so you haven't paid your bills for 90 days, and you go into collections, you forfeit lifetime access. I'm telling you that right now just so that you understand that, because I'm laying out right now, and you're like, oh, that's an option for me. Right, but just make sure you're staying on top of your payments, because they're going to shut down your education, and then you'll forfeit the lifetime access on the billing cycle. Got it? Okay, frequently asked questions. What's the interest rate? The billing here is 18% interest. I do believe that this one over here is 12% interest, and this will vary. This one over here will vary, but once again, you're going to get these two right here will come because you did the funding assessment. The only way into those two possibilities to find out if you even qualify is to do a funding assessment. Go to getfundedonline.com and click on the blue button that says Get Started Here. Okay? That's your option. You can do that right now. Okay, I am done sharing the education. I'm done sharing the funding. I do have a list of questions here, or frequently asked questions. I'm going to handle that at the end. I'm going to cover the referring side of this business for you guys so that you understand it, and then you can opt in or opt out of it. If you're not even interested in it, you can shut it down right now. Call up the person who invited you here. Let's get started. Maybe even click the link on the Helios program here that we have and get started with your education. Okay. With that being said, I am going to close this down, and I'm going to bring up, hang on a second, the compensation program with Renatus. And then I've got a list of questions here I'll finish up with, and then we'll be finished. Okay? All right. Remember we talked about two possible income streams or systems, income systems. One is the real estate system, and it is a system. Real estate's always been a system. Understand the numbers. Make sure you're doing things right legally with contracts. I don't even care if you're being lent to you and your brother are doing deal. Make sure it's all papered up, right? Get the right attorneys in place just because it's business, not family, okay? All right. The other income system that you have available to you, separate, completely separate from the services you could have on the education, is an independent marketing affiliate program that Renatus has set up to help its expansion around the country. Let me tell you why this was set up. I'm going to tell you why it's set up because I'm being advisory to the founder of this education. I get to hang out with him. Now, think about this: when a guru wants you to come down to a hotel, and I've had this happen to me. I was driving down the road. I hear a radio show. This is when I wanted to be in real estate before I found Renatus. So I'm driving down the road. The guru, they say, hey, this guy that you know is coming to this city, and the first 10 people that call get a free ticket. Otherwise, it's $500 for these 3 days. So here's me. I'm like, wow, that sounds great. I'm quickly dialing. I'm getting on the phone. I win a free ticket. Isn't that credible? Yeah. I go down to the event, and I'm like, I was gloating a little bit. I'm like, hey, I got a free ticket. And they're like, I got a free ticket too. And then the guy next to me got a free ticket. The guy behind me got a free ticket. So that event started with a little bit of a duping for me. Now, the money that these guys pay to have those kind of marketing campaigns going on, to have those kind of experts say, hey, we'll charge $500, but not really free. The scripts that are written, the TV time, the airtime on TV, the airtime on radio is an extraordinary big bill, okay? So here is what the founder of Renatus decided to do. Hey, instead of paying for TV ads and radio ads and campaign companies or advertising companies to work for us, why don't we just turn that money back into individuals that could use it? People like us, right? So if you can be the word of mouth advertising for us, if you have some great experience with Renatus, go talk about somebody about it. If you want to put an ad out there and make it a business, go ahead and do that. And then you can actually put people in these rooms or on these webinars. If they make the same decision that a lot of people make for these services, we're going to pay you a commission on it. Okay? And I took advantage of it simply because my wife and I weren't making any money. And because of this compensation program I'm going to lay out for you, I looked at my wife and I said, if that is real, we will never need jobs again, based on what I just saw. And my wife and I have never needed a job since that time. Again, we were putting 24 hours a day, or not a day, 8 hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week, focusing on just getting people down to the room to make money so that we can actually afford to take classes and do real estate. Okay, we didn't have jobs to start with. Okay, I'm not suggesting you go crazy and quit your job tomorrow because this comp plan looks as good to you as it did to me. If I had a job, I would not have quit it. I would have done the comp plan first, and then if my money got big enough off the comp plan, I would quit my job, or my real estate got big enough I could quit the job. Okay, with those being said, let's cover this compensation program. All right. It does take, let me just change the color here to a color that is nondescript inside this page. So it does take $125 to become an independent marketing affiliate with Renatus. Okay? That is an annual fee if you would like to continue to get paid by Renatus. The minute you're done with Renatus, you're like, you know what? I don't want to pay them anymore. I'm not going to. You can just shut it down. You're done with being an affiliate. Let's say halfway through the year, you're like, well, this isn't working out. I don't want to be an affiliate anymore. Then don't. You don't have to get on any webinars. There's no demands on you. You can do this business the way you want to do it inside your IMA agreement. There you go. But independent marketing affiliate. Now, I will tell you this, the idea behind Renatus was different than the traditional multi-level marketing plan that was out there. They took a look at different models. They're like, all right, there's multi-level marketing, and then there's these different direct distribution comp plans where people get paid tremendously well per sale. All right, and this is what they modeled after. So if you take a look at the industry, usually you have to have this huge team to make any kind of money whatsoever. What I appreciated about this comp plan was once I was trained up and qualified, I could make $1,000, $3,000, $9,000, or $10,000 per sale. I didn't even have to participate in the team stuff. In fact, if for some reason you don't want to participate in the team stuff, which is lucrative, just send an email to Renatus saying, no, I don't want to help anybody. I just want to sell people. It's completely possible. I've already asked the founder that. He's like, yeah, we'll just have them make sales. They don't have to build teams at all. Isn't that great? Okay, so let's talk about this comp plan. I'm just going to erase really quick here. So just get rid of some of this stuff. Let's talk about the qualification line. The line that you see on the sheet here that says qualified is the most important thing to consider when you start with this program. They had to come up with some decentralized training program. Decentralized meaning you don't have to come to Renatus, or actually Renatus isn't going to have to be responsible for your training. What they did do was they put that on the local marketers to help out the local people. Okay? This qualifying line right here is the importance of that. That's the key to it all. On this side of the qualification line, you are working with your affiliate, your qualified affiliate, to get training locally from them. Hey, how do you lead generate, or how do you talk to folks in your life that might be interested in this? What do I say to get them down? What does an ad look like? How do I go to a networking event and network the right way? It's like all these ideas have already been used by the people that you're going to be working with. So their job, their responsibility, if they want to assist you and get an override, is to make sure that you're taken care of. Make sense? As a qualified affiliate. So you're in training with them through the qualifying process. So on this side of the qualifying line, you're learning. On this side of the qualifying line, we're not saying, hey, you're done learning. You are now a qualified affiliate. You are completely entitled to the full commissions because nobody needs to help you anymore. Does this make sense? Okay. However, when you are going through training, it's a very interesting relationship. Let's talk about that for a second. Okay, to establish that relationship, we have to establish what you want to do with Renatus. So there's really 4 choices that you're going to make after this webinar to do the marketing or not. Actually, 5 choices if you're like, I don't want to do the marketing at all, no problem, just take the services, education services, do some real estate. But if you want to do this, here's your 4 choices. Choice number 1, not enrolling in anything. You do not have to be a student to actually enroll other students. You can just say, you know what, education looks awesome. Love the idea of velocity banking. Nah, just going to do referring side. Completely within your right. That is just the 125 and get going. Okay? However, you do have to go through that learning period with your qualified affiliate. So you will have a qualified affiliate working with you to help you out, holding your hand, so to say. Here's your requirement. So here's you're like, okay, I want to actually do this. Maybe in my case, I put an ad out there in the world. I put a roadside sign out there, or I drop a flyer on a windshield. There's lots of ways to market. Just check your IMA agreement to make sure you're doing it within the boundaries Renatus has. So you put an ad out there, and you have a person you have an individual that saw your ad. They came down to the meetings, and they're like, I'm in, I love it. So that person decides to get the essentials and the extreme. Okay. Here's the challenge right now. You're not qualified at the essentials yet. Okay, so you're going through qualification at the essentials. What that means is you're not going to get credit for that extreme. You're only going to get credit for the essentials. that Essentials is going to pay $1,000. So Renatus just received that order. They're like, okay, we owe some people some money. So $1,000 is going to go to the field, being you and your qualified affiliate, the person that's qualified to help you. You're going to get $125 of that money, and your qualified affiliate is going to get $875 of that money. Okay? Now you might ask yourself, what the heck? Why are they getting so much? Because they're the people that are going to be taking your texts. You know, after I was doing some recording here, I had 10 texts on my phone, and I had to get back to some of those affiliates to help them with their questions. And that's how involved we are as qualified affiliates. Our job is to make sure that your life is easy when it comes to understanding what you got to do to get qualified. All right? I'm not saying the work is easy. This is the easiest path to it based on what we went through. Okay. All right. On the second Essentials, you get $125. The qualified affiliate helping you gets $875. On the third Essentials, you get $125. The qualified affiliate gets $875. Okay? Now you have reached your qualifying line at that service that you're actually referring people or selling people. What Renatus is saying is, look, you have watched 3 orders go in start to finish, and we're talking about from the acquisition of the lead or the prospect, through the conversations, through the how do I use the back office, to how do I put this order in. That qualified affiliate is going to be helping you with all of it. So they deserve to get paid for that. That's decentralized training. But on the fourth one, Renatus is saying, hey, you've watched enough Essentials from start to finish. You should be able to put the next one in. So you deserve all the money. Now, if your affiliate, your qualified affiliate, has not opted out of the team building aspect of this thing, then they're going to get $100 every time you refer somebody for the rest of your life. Provided they keep their contract in place, you keep your contract in place, that relationship will just go on. Make sense? So they're now going to benefit for life every time you put an order in. That is not coming from you. Renatus is actually paying your qualified affiliate that override. It's called an override. You guys with me? That's option number 1. So if you're in the line today and you're like, yeah, I was wondering about that. Do I have to buy the education? Nope, you don't. You can actually just be an affiliate for $125 and go crazy with your qualified affiliate helping you out through that qualification process and start making thousands of dollars on the Essentials. All right, let's talk about enrolling in the education. So that is choice number 1. We're done with that. Let's talk about choice number 2. If you are on the line here with us today and you're like, you know what, I think I want to get that Essentials because of the taxes, because of the velocity banking. I don't know if I really want to do real estate yet, but they've definitely made me interested in paying less taxes and paying less to the bank. Okay, great. Congratulations. That's number 2. Now watch this. Because you are actually having your order put in by your qualified affiliate. So when you say, hey, I want the Essentials, your qualified affiliate say, all right, come on, let's put your order in. You're watching that order go in means it's going to be part of your training. So by actually just getting your Essentials, you're going to be trained up through that experience. Okay? So now you will actually count as that first stick figure because watching your order go in is part of training. Congratulations. Now, when you put your first Essentials in, you are not going to get $125. You are going to get $500, and the QA, or qualified affiliate, is going to get $500. So what Renatus is saying is, hey, if you get your Essentials, we're going to split the money between you and your qualified affiliate. On the second Essentials, you're not going to get $125. You're going to get $500, and the qualified affiliate's going to get $500. Now, here's a frequently asked question about this. Well, why are you getting paid more? You're getting paid more because you bought the education. No, that is not it at all. The reason you're getting paid more is because we don't have to work as hard to help you get certified or qualified. Does that make sense? We don't have to work that hard. And I'm going to give you an example, because I've been doing this now for 10 years. This is exactly why this was created this way. The founder understood this was going to happen. When I'm sitting down with one of my IMAs that I'm helping out, and let's say they don't have the education, it's harder to help them. Because now you have Mr. Water Bottle, right? You have Mr. Water Bottle, he's come down to a meeting, he's come down to the follow-up, and all of a sudden Mr. Water Bottle is like, this seems awesome. Hey, Scott, what program did you get into? They always ask for social validation. I'm like, well, I did the extreme. It gave me lifetime access. It'll never shut off on me. It's like an all-access pass to the wonderful world of Renatus. And they're like, that sounds good. And then they turn to the person I'm helping and they say, hey, Mr. Clicker, which one did you get? And Mr. Clicker says, oh, I didn't get any of the education. I'm just referring people. Now they're going to ask the question to this person. So how does that work and why did you choose that? And I've heard genius answers like this. Well, I'm going to make money referring people and I'm going to use that money to pay for the education later on. It's a completely, you can do that. There's nobody telling you that you can't do that. The challenge is the person that just heard that now it becomes their plan. You do not get paid for signing people up for 125. That is not how this works. That's just an affiliate program. That money goes to Renatus to handle the servers and the customer service and all this other stuff, right? So that is not a service bought, right? We didn't sell a service for that, so there's no commissions. Does that make sense? So it's a lot harder to help you get qualified if for some reason the person over here is going to follow your path. And a lot of times they do because of social validation. It's a lot easier to put 125 in than figure out 20 grand through financing. Okay, with that being said, do it the way you want to do it. The reason that Renatus pays bigger is because it's easier as qualified affiliates to help you, okay, because you're a product of the service. Okay, all right, so there we go. So now you're certified earlier, and now on the third one, you're going to get $1,000, and you're going to get $1,000 on and on and on, again, provided that you've paid your 125, and your qualified affiliate will now override you $100, 5% of gross, $100 every time you enroll somebody else. You got that? All right. Okay, now we've covered how to get qualified at the Essentials the Essential Service, education service. You're a product of the service when you start using it. Okay, watch this. So we've covered this. Let's cover this down here. So remember I told you that you have to get qualified at the Essentials first, start making thousands, and now you're going to qualify at the other program, the other service the education company has, which is the Accelerated Investor Training. Okay? So every time an advance is written, $3,000 is generated. Every time an extreme is written, $9,000 is generated. That is not going to go in your pocket. You are still in learning mode with your qualified affiliate at that product. Okay? You will get the $1,000 for the essentials. This money is going to go to your qualified affiliate. The credit is going to go to you in this container. So let's talk about that for a second before you get too confused. Let me wipe this away. Okay, an advance goes in, $3,000 generated. An extreme goes in, $9,000 is generated. Your qualified affiliate is going to get the cash for helping you. You are going to get the credit in this bucket. So either $9,000 is going to go in the bucket, $3,000 is going to go in the bucket, $9,000 is going to go in the bucket. Your job is to fill this bucket full of $45,000 worth of commissions. Once it is full, you are now qualified to keep the money, and your qualified affiliate will start overriding you. Okay? Your QA will start overriding you. What happened to the 1,000s while you were going through that qualification? You get the 1,000s. So you're piling up all these $1,000 essentials commissions in your bank account while you're going through this. Okay? So there you go. So you're making thousands while you're going through through qualification on the bottom. Okay, I'm cleaning it off. All right. Now that we've covered choice number 1 and choice number 2, let's cover choice number 3 and 4. If you are on the line with us today and you're thinking about going through choice number 3 or choice number 4, congratulations. You're actually going to get bonuses that is going to help you take care of your education tuition quicker. Bonus number 1 is called the CHOP. Okay? The CHOP simply says, if you decide to do choice number 3 or 4, the advanced or extreme, the computer at Renatus will automatically remove the top of the container. You do not have a $45,000 container. You only have a $27,000 container. Congratulations. Okay? What that helps you do is not bear the cost of the education for too long. This is less, right? Okay, bonus number 2, your own tuition counts. Your own tuition counts. What that means is if you decide to do an advance, $3,000 is going to be paid to your QA. If you decide to do an extreme, $9,000 is going to be paid to your QA on your order. Well, that is going to go into your container or bucket to start it. So it'll be $27,000 minus whatever you decided to get. Okay? So now, in my case, they put $9,000 in my container, my bucket, because my QA got paid that. So I was left with an $18,000 bucket immediately. There is one more bonus that only belongs to the extreme holders. So if you are an extreme combination tuition holder, then bonus number 3 belongs to you. Bonus number 3 is called simultaneous certification. Simultaneous certification. And it really, really, really does speed things up. Again, the founder is very compassionate. He's very generous. He says, look, if somebody's going to invest the $20,000 into this education, why don't we help them get it back really quick if they decide to do this with us? Okay, watch this. So remember I told you that you have to qualify at your essentials first, and then you qualify at the bucket later on? That does not apply to the extreme tuition holders. You can qualify at your essentials and your accelerated investor training services at the same time. What that means, let me show you what this looks like. I'm going to show you as an example for an individual. All right. So let's say you decide to get your essentials and your extreme. The Renatus computer is the system's going to chop off your bucket. It's going to drop your own extreme into your bucket, and that's where you start your life. Let's say the first person you bring down decides to get their essentials and their extreme. Okay, well, let me just change the color here, just for the difference. Okay, what's going to happen is they're going to drop their money in the bucket and give you credit at the essentials, and you're going to be paid $500. You guys see that? And then the next person that comes down, they decide, person number 2 decides to get their essentials and their extreme. They're going to drop that one in the bucket simultaneous to the essentials, and you're going to get paid $500. Okay? So you just made $500 and $500. Your qualified affiliate just made $500 and $500, and also $9,000 and $9,000, right? Helping you get qualified. But simultaneous, you got qualified at the essentials and the AITs at the same time, simultaneously. Okay? Now, to show you how simple this could be, a lot of folks who take on the referring side, the IMA side, and the real estate side. So they're like, okay, I'm going to get my extreme combo. So in my case, I got the extreme combo. And then my first 2 were extreme combos, and I was done in just 2 orders and 2 people. Okay? If you don't do it that way, you're going to have to do 1, 2, 3 qualified. Then, let's say you put $3,000 in the bucket. That's going to be, that's going to be 15. That could be 15 of these or 5 of these. You guys with me on that? You could put 15 in the bucket, and you could put 5 in the bucket, or you can choose to do 1 and enroll 2 if you're fortunate enough to have that happen in your first 2. Okay? All right, so just to give you a sense of how that works. Got it? Okay. Now, that's covering how to get qualified. Okay, that's you getting qualified. Let's talk about you as a qualified affiliate. This gets really interesting. So now we're going to talk about you, the QA, and you, the QA. Okay? All right, watch. This is awesome. So now you're qualified to make all the commissions, right? You're qualified to help other people out. You'll get one of these 5 stars here. This means I am qualified at both the essentials service and the AIT service to make full commissions and help anybody else that comes in right after that. I'm full overrides, you name it. This is very interesting. Please pay attention. This is where it gets crazy. Okay, so you're a qualified affiliate, and all of a sudden a person named Joe comes in and says, hey, he watches the exposures. Remember, you can put them into meetings that you're not doing. So you don't necessarily have to be a good salesperson. You can just put them in front of good salespeople that they'll see the same thing that you saw, and all of a sudden they're making a decision that you benefit on. Okay? So now Joe says, you know what? I want the essentials and I want the extreme. Well, congratulations. Joe is going to chop off the bucket that he's going through with you. Joe is going to put $9,000 worth of credit into his own bucket, but that means you're getting paid that $9,000 because you're a qualified affiliate. So you're going to get $1,000 on Joe's order, on his essentials. You're going to get $9,000 on his AIT for a total of $10,000. Now, this is where it got interesting for me when I started looking at this. I gave up my life to a company, most of my life to a company that let me go after 15 years, okay? So in this case, I started thinking, wait, let me get this straight. If I just find 10 people in a year at $10,000 once I'm qualified, I'll make $100,000 annually. And I don't have to worry about a boss. I don't have to worry about getting laid off. I don't have to worry about that kind of stuff, simply because it's up to me. It's just pure math now. That gave me a level of freedom. I was like, I like the way this feels. Okay, now let's talk about it this way. So Joe is your guy. Joe turns to you and says, hey, did you choose to be a qualified affiliate? Did you choose that team thing? Should I talk to you or somebody else? No, I'm a qualified affiliate. Remember, you can opt out of that. You can opt out of the team building thing altogether. He goes, okay, great. I want to do the referring thing too. Will you help me? And you'll say, yes, it's my job to help you. So here we go. So Joe decides to go bring some people down. Maybe it's his friends. I don't know. Maybe it's Bill and Ted having an excellent adventure, right? Okay, so here's Bill. Bill sees what? He sees the introduction meeting. He sees the follow-up. He turns to Joe and he says, dude, this is awesome. What did you do? Oh, I got the extreme. Great, I'm going to do the same thing. Ted, the same thing. What'd you do? I got the extreme. Great, I'm going to do the same thing. So Bill decides to get the essential, and Ted decides to get the essentials. Well, 500 of that's going to go to Joe. 500 of that's going to go to Joe. But you, as the qualified affiliate helping him out, is going to get that money. You're going to get $500 too, right? Now watch this. These guys decide to do the extreme as well. So Bill decides to get the extreme, and Ted decides to get the extreme. Well, what happens? That's 9,000 and 9,000 going into the container for Joe. So he's going to get credit for those two orders. You're going to get paid on those two orders for helping him out. Okay? So the bare minimum that I get helping a person get into an extreme tuition, and then helping two other people he brings down get into extreme tuition, is $29,000 helping him out or them out. Okay? That's $29,000. So here's what I looked at. Ready for this? I was like, okay, in this case, I don't have to go find 10 people to make six figures. I just have to help 4 people get qualified. So they get into the program, and then they get qualified. That is equal to $116,000 a year. And I thought to myself, this is a whole new career for me, because I could just focus on one person a quarter, and I can make a significant income to take care of my family. You guys with me on this? Again, do me a favor. Do not quit a job over this. It's dangerous, destructive. Go do your job. We can assist you in referring people, get you, all trained up, and all, you learned a lot of stuff. And then pretty soon, if for some reason this income out does that, I see it a lot happen a lot, but don't do it prematurely. Okay. All right, so that's actually helping somebody get qualified. Let's talk about overrides, because you will now override Joe for the rest of your life in this example. Here we go. And erased. All right, ready? Okay, so now we're talking about you. Oh, I'm going to do that in blue. Hang on, let's keep the colors the same. So you are still the QA. You're still the qualified affiliate. You are still the QA. Okay? Now remember, Joe is over here in overrides now. He became qualified. He's qualified off. He's in overrides. What happens to Bill and Ted is a little crazy. Bill and Ted remain with you as affiliates so that you can help them get qualified. Okay? Because you did a lot of the work, right? So the benefit is, hey, you guys get to hang out with the person that you heard from the most. So I got a bucket for Bill. I got a bucket for Ted. I got 2 essentials owed to me by Bill and Ted. So you just increased your earning potential, but you also increased your workload, because now you got 2 more people that were brought down by Joe that you helped get in. You guys with me? Okay. There you go. Now, let's talk about Joe for a second. On Joe, you are not just overriding his sales. And this is a very huge distinction here that you have to understand. Every time Joe puts an order in, you will get 5%. That's $100, $300, $900, $1,000. Okay? Every time Joe puts an order in. However, let's say he puts that order in and you get paid. That affiliate is now working with Joe to get qualified. You're not just overriding Joe's sales, you are overriding Joe's business. So as he helps these affiliates put orders in, you're getting 5% of that as well. It's volume through the business, not just sales from Joe. So he could have 10 affiliates that he's helping out. You're actually benefiting from, you benefited because they came in, then you're going to benefit because of their training. You guys with me? So let's take a look how that looks. So now all of a sudden, this affiliate right here brings down 2 people as well to get qualified. Those people will remain with Joe, just like Bill and Ted remained with you, and then this guy breaks off into his own business. You will also override that business. You will override that business and any affiliates inside that business that are actually working with that affiliate to get qualified. So let's play that again. So let's say that this person right here finds two new people. Boom. This guy will actually get into his own business, right? He's now QA as well. So all these people are now QA'd, and you're going to make overrides on the business going through, the volume going through the business. So that's another 5%. So watch this. Let's just finish this up with this. So now he has affiliates working with him or her. You're getting override. So you're getting 5% of the volume on the businesses, not just the sales on the person. Now when I saw that, I was like, it stops at 3. I'm like, holy cow, could we create a business, right? And I can tell you this, my wife and I, you can figure this out for yourself. Ready? My wife and I have done pretty good in the last 7 years and 29 days as this webinar is being done. We have over 4,000 folks that we've helped out, right? Not folks ourselves personally. Because of this compensation program, I believe that my wife and I have only helped out 40 people personally. However, because those 40 people went on to be qualified and then we got to work with the people that we helped get in, right? It's grown, right? It just kept growing and growing and growing. So we have over 4,000 people as of today that we've helped out. So imagine that if you're multiplying that by just overrides, right? The 100s to 1,000s, it's a pretty big number, okay? I will show you this. Maybe they'll blank it out. So that's the override. Oh, let's talk about Bill and Ted. So when Bill and Ted get qualified, they're just going to join Joe over here on the first generation, right? So these guys are going to create businesses that you're going to override, right? And that will leave behind 4 folks to work with. So now these people will turn into 4 people if it works out perfectly, and then you'll have 8, then you'll have 16, and you have, just keep going. It's awesome. And that's exactly how it worked out for my wife and I. Okay. Now the last thing I'm going to show you on this is I'm going to show you I'm going to show you how they pay, and you're going to get to see a chance to see that. Hopefully it's still working. Oh, here we go. Okay. They can redact whatever online, or they can choose to show you this. If for some reason they don't show you after this, here, let me tell you what to do. You should contact whoever got you to this system here. There may even be a Get Started Right Now button on the newer system we're creating. So you can hit that Get Started. I am ready to get started. Boom. You can actually put your order in right now. Contact. If you got any personal questions for the person who invited you, do me a favor. Do not get started. This is not a program where we want to sell you. A lot of our rooms don't have closing tables for a reason. We're not looking for impulsive people. We're looking for intelligent people. The one thing that Renatus doesn't want is buyer's remorse. So please make sure this is right for you. Get with whoever you have to make a decision with, your wife, maybe your parents, if for some reason you're young enough to actually consider them help, right? Or good counsel, right? So do me a favor, just make sure this is right for you before you click on anything. In fact, maybe talk to a human again and talk to them about their experience. Does it make sense? So now now that we finished with the comp plan, let me go over some frequently asked questions. Got it? So please pay attention. You might go, oh yeah, what a good question. Okay, here we go. What are the requirements of an IMA? The requirements of an IMA is simply the $125 and stick within the boundaries of the IMA agreement and the handbook that you're going to get as an IMA. Okay? How much training is involved both in time and money? It is not a time or money training. It is an experiential training, as you just saw through the comp plan. The experience of putting in orders is how training works. Okay? Is there a cost to training? No. If there is a cost, if for some reason you, let me rephrase that. We do trainings at our office in Chicago, and we tell people, if you'd like to come to the training, it's $50. If you don't want to come to the training, you don't spend anything. But Renatus is not looking for any money for your training. In fact, you'll have plenty of IMA training in your back office. Let me show you that right now. It's a good question. Let's pull that up. So we go to training, and I go to IMA training. There's going to be plenty of IMA training for you back here that you can watch. No extra cost. For the $125, you get that. In fact, the founder of this education has a 10-step training that you can watch. The national conference trainings, all the recordings are back there from last year's national conference. The money matrix back there. So you can actually just watch the trainings without a single dime out of your pocket. So you've done the 125, you get access to all this training that you see on the screen. Got it? And this isn't the real estate training. You have to actually enroll in the services to get the real estate training. This is IMA marketing, enrolling folks in the education training. Okay. Are there marketing materials? Yes. We have flyers and intensive emails you can send out. The cost of doing that's going to be on you. There is prepared stuff that you could use, but getting it printed, getting it sent out in an email chimp or whatever, MailChimp or something like that is all going to be on you. The cost of that is going to be on you. Okay. What are the upfront costs to be an IMA? $125 annually to become an IMA and $120 annually to remain an IMA. What ongoing costs are there to be an IMA? Renatus only has a $125, so the ongoing every single year $125 cost. What restrictions are there for IMAs? There is a handbook that you will get once you sign up. You should follow that. I know, I'll give you an example of a few things. You can't put Renatus in a URL that you're going to use to market. Only Renatus can handle the name of Renatus. You're not licensed to use that in a URL. You're not posting job ads, right? That's going to get you canned right away. You got to keep the language correct, right? You got to abide by not promising anything, right? These kind of things. But all that is also covered in your handbook, okay? What happens if I sign up and then decide I don't want to be an IMA? If you decide that in your 7-day right of rescission, you have a 7-day right of rescission on the education, so you can cancel inside that 7 days, no questions asked. And the same thing with the IMA, the 125, you have 7 days. If you say, you know what, in the 3rd day I don't want to do this, it's no cost. Just get your money back. After that, the minute you decide not to be an IMA and you stop referring people, I guess you're done being an IMA, right? So it's all based on you, okay? To continue being an active IMA, am I required to create a network of distributors beneath me? No. In fact, let me tell you this. There's no sales requirements. There's a lot of other companies out there that says, well, in order for us to keep paying you, you have to have a minimum sales requirement. That is not the case with Renatus. In fact, I have got a 2-year plan in place right now that says I'm going to drop my cell phone in a bucket of water because I've done enough work and helped enough people that I'm going to be finished, right? But I still get the money. Here's an even better part. My kids, if for some reason my wife and I were called up to heaven and run some meetings up there, the kids we could will the income, the system income that we're making to the kids. Isn't that great? So think about that. Okay. What will be the emphasis of my selling? Example, educational services or IMA opportunity? Well, technically, we don't sell the IMA opportunity. There's no commissions on that. I've never sold the IMA opportunity. I only sell services of the education, right? So that's the only thing I'm selling. So there you go. The emphasis is only on selling the education. How does the comp plan work? Just showed you that in extreme detail. How many hours a week do you spend on the business when you joined? In my case, my wife and I were putting in probably each, right? Each of us 24 to 32 hours a week each on the enrolling of students, and then the rest of the time we were taking classes. And then, we were broke, we were unemployed, we had felt what kind of pain that was, and we never wanted to experience that again. So we really worked hard at that. Okay, how many hours a week do you spend now? I can tell you, I'm in a different phase in my life. I'm in a really push to help other people phase, so I'm traveling a lot. I spend Tuesdays in a city, I spend Wednesdays in a city, and then I spend Thursday back home, right? So, but I'm picking those cities for 6 months, building them up, teaching them how it works, and then moving on. It's a part of duplication. It helps the overrides. Do you understand? I do travel twice a month on Saturdays to go help markets with what we call Super Saturdays, which is the marketing training. That's what I specialize in. Even though I've done real estate, I'm not the most successful person at the real estate game. There's way more people that are successful at that, but I am one of the more successful people on the referring side and the marketing side. I come from a marketing background. It just fit me perfectly. It was great. How many people have you recruited as a new distributor? Have you recruited? Right now I'm sitting at over 4,000 people, 4,000 IMAs in my organization. Most of those folks have at least the essentials, right? I'm just saying that. Okay. How long have you been in the business? 7 with Renatus, 7 days and 7 years, 29 days as of this calendar day. Right? It is January 29th, 2018. So my wife and I started the first day in January. So here we are. 7 years, 29 days. Okay. How many do you receive? How many do you receive payment under the comp plan? How much? You know what? I've done really well. I don't know, they can redact this or not and beat me out if they want to, but we're over $3 million on the enrolling side in the last 7 years and 29 days, and we are the top income earners in the company. So I would get some numbers on some averages if I were you, having heard that. Get some average. So you guys like, okay, Scott, you're above average. You already said that you were a marketer before. What's the average person? Get some numbers on that. Maybe they can put it up in a PowerPoint right now. Okay. How long have you been in the business? Again, 7 years, 29 days. How much money did you make last year? That is your income and bonuses less your expenses. Okay. The expenses, the way that we pay for our building is through, like I told you, through the $50 per chair building. So the building's actually taking care of itself pretty much these days. Last year, we made in 2017 $855,000 and some change between, ready for this, between the events coming in, so that was less cost. Well, probably $120,000 of that went towards the building, because when somebody does pay the $50, it comes to us. Most of it was overrides. I would say we only made 2 sales last year. So I made we made $10,000 on 2 individuals that we got in personally last year. That came off of people wanting to know what the heck we were doing on Facebook. And then the rest of it was overrides. So quite a bit, right? And that's the breakdown. How much of it was in sales? 2 sales last year for 20 grand. How much money you made in the recruiting distributors? Don't make any money recruiting distributors. So the 125 doesn't get paid. So we don't get paid on that. How much money have you made in downline distributor sales, which is overrides? I'm suggesting, I'm probably is the quite a bit. So if you take $20,000 minus, so $140,000 from 855. What does that look like? 720,000 maybe in overrides. Okay, what percentage of your sales were made to distributors? That's a fantastic question. I have way more students than I do have students IMAs, right? So I have sold way more education to people that just want to do real estate than I have people that go, I want to do real estate and referring, right? Very little folks actually just do the 125. I can tell you this, and this might be good for you to hear. A lot of those folks that do 125, they don't make it, right? They don't make it because they don't have that wealth building thing. I have a lot of people who want to do the real estate and the marketing side, and then they do a fix and flip, and they make a big check on a fix and flip, and I never hear from them on the marketing side. So because the service, the education service is so good, the challenge that we have, with distributors is they make so much money on a fix and flip. They're like, wow, big 5-6 figure check. Woohoo, do it again, right? And then they forget all about the distribution side. So we have way more folks like that than we have anybody else, right? How long did it take you before you were earning money? Right away. We were earning money, wow, first month we were earning money with Renatus. So, but once again, we were putting time into it to make that happen. How big of a downline is needed to make money? You don't need a downline at all to make money. In fact, you could opt out of the downline portion, like I suggested, and just make the 1,000s, 3,000s, 9,000s, or 10,000s, right? You can say, nope, I just want to refer actual individuals and make big dough. So there you go. Is the downline you're compensated on endless? Oh, absolutely not. It is only 3 levels. So if it was any more than that, then the company couldn't sustain itself. If not, how far down does it go? Answer right there. Okay. There you go, guys. So you've heard everything. Once again, if for some reason you're ready to go, based on everything you heard here, all the questions that's answered here, the comp plan, then there should be a button you can hit to get started, or a button to hit so that the person that invited you gets a message to help you get started. So go ahead and do that now. And you know what? Hopefully we'll meet at a national event, or maybe a regional event, or a leadership event. I look forward to helping you out personally. Maybe I'll be traveling to your market someday soon, and you'll be able to shake hands, or you come to mine. Sound good? All right, guys, have a great day. Get your choice. If you're not going to get started with us, I wish you luck. If you are getting started with us, congratulations. Welcome to the family.